everyone, I'm Captain Logan, and tonight we're going to tell you, how we felt about Supergirl. Tonight I've got a panel consisting of four of us, and not Austin. Sorry to say, he's on vacation and wasn't able to be here, and was really excited about this movie. He saw it Wednesday of last week. Connor, when you and I were talking to him on Friday, he'd already seen this. I didn't even realize it. And
Wow.
Anyway, we got Connor Nielsen. We got
Hey,
Robert.
everybody.
We got Robert Wild,
Hello.
and we got my son Jayson.
What the hell? They made Superman a girl.
He'll tell.
I'll tell you about that.
He'll tell you about
I'll tell you
that
about
later.
that.
Okay, so this is the second now movie in the DCU under James Gunn and Safran. This is not the only second project, of course. We've had a couple of TV projects already, obviously. Most people that aren't in our circles are not going to necessarily see those things and be aware of them. So for the majority of the universe, there are two entries now in the DCU, and Superman did decently well, and this is falling apart or deflating like a lead balloon. Or dropping like a lead balloon. That was a great mixed metaphor. It's deflating, folks, like a lead balloon. Anyway, I'm already tired. I'll get a second win here. Anyway, and it's and it's kind of shocking how poorly this is doing at the box office. This is not to say how any of our sign flips are going to go or anything. I just want to get this out of the way up front, because obviously there's sometimes a big difference between the quality of a thing and how well it's doing at the box office. We can argue about whether this would be doing great even if more people were liking it, but critics are classically mixed on this. It's like 54% Rotten Tomatoes, so that is by definition conflicted before it's totally in the toilet critically, but that's not fresh or whatever, I don't think. I forget what percentage you have to be fresh, but I think it's more than that.
60.
And the audience score is 77. So we've been seeing a lot of these discrepancies lately, where the audience score is a lot higher than the critic score, and there's a lot of controversy surrounding this movie because it's a movie, and so there are irritating controversies. I don't want to talk about that stuff. It's just that's probably affecting this to some degree. But I'm wondering, guys, if part of the issue isn't just in comic circles, a lot of people really like Supergirl. In the real world, as it were, how many people really see this character as anything but just Superman in a skirt, which is not fair, because she's a really neat character in her own right, and there are also lots of different versions of her, and most of them I think are all valid and interesting and cool. And this is based on more of my favorite of them. When you have the kind of what I think of as rage Supergirl that is dealing with her anger after she lost her planet, and you're really dealing with how different her background is and her worldview because of that over Superman's. That's when you get into my favorite character. That starts with New 52, and we've done several iterations of that since then in extra media. Just kind of looking at that, like My Adventures with Superman version is looking at that, and so this goes into that territory. But anyway, we'll go ahead and get into sign flips and things here pretty soon. Thanks for joining us if you're watching live. Thanks for being with us after the fact if you're doing that. We already had a super chat. Let me read that real quick. I don't even know what it is yet.
Oh, I can.
I don't even know where it is.
I can read
Oh, there it is. Mitty Blof. I've already got it. I'll just go ahead and read it.
Yeah, no problem.
$5 super chat to quote Cap in his Batman and Harley Quinn review. This movie was embarrassing. And to quote, well, that can't be the only place I've ever said that. And to quote Austin in the He-Man review, just corporate slop. Well, I'm not going to tell you yet if I agree with either of those. I can't tell you that Austin would not agree with his own quote on this. I know that he's told me that he enjoyed this well enough. But anyway, as always, you guys can help direct the conversation like a Mitty Bolf did by leaving a super chat in any dollar amount. And we have a decent crowd tonight. We'll talk to you outside of that as much as possible as well. We'll interact with you with regular comments. But if you want to make sure that there's an aspect of this that we discuss, because we may not get to everything, that's the way to do it. Or if you just want to rant, ramble, or tell us how much you loved this movie and make sure that your voice is heard about that, you can do that. And now let's get into a synopsis, which I'm going to give to Jayson this time. And also so that he can tell his very amusing story.
Yeah, I will.
About what happened related to this movie after we saw He-Man.
Yeah.
Which he did not get around to telling everybody on camera there.
Nope.
But our panel after that heard about it, and we wished that we had continued broadcasting.
So this
it was really sad that I had hit the end stream button.
This is actually not a Jayson story. This is an Austin story, which he told after our He-Man review. And,
I don't know why you've talked about it so much. I had it in my head that you were the one that. No, it was Austin.
No, it was Austin.
I'm an idiot.
But he just gave this guy a southern accent. So basically, Austin saw He-Man and walked out of the theater, and this guy was walking by him and saw a Supergirl poster, and Austin overheard him say, they made Superman a girl? What the hell? And the entire panel laughed about it for like 10 minutes after but I wish that he had told it on the stream because it was really funny. So I was waiting,
and we just started coming up with with other examples. Yeah, like the Wonder Man shows up. And they made Wonder Woman a man. What the hell?
So
I don't know why this guy from Alabama was in Canada watching a movie, but
no. So that's that story. As far as this story goes, so it's loosely based on this little story from a few years ago called Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, which follows Supergirl and I gotta be honest with you,
which was written by Tom King.
Yes, I gotta be honest with you, I'm terrible with synopses. So Supergirl and this other girl who I can't remember the name
Ruthie.
Of. Thank you.
But not spelled like Ruthie, like an alien spelling of Ruthie. It's got like both a Y and an E in it.
Yeah. So
do you want me to have Robert do the synopsis?
No. So this Ruthie girl, she gets her family killed, and then she seeks.
You're gonna hit your quota, and I'm gonna have to go Robert.
No.
Right.
I'm gonna say no more ums. I'm gonna replace them with likes. So she dang it! I said
Are you gonna replace them with subscribes too?
Yes.
Okay.
So she subscribed. No.
Anyway, give us a synopsis.
She gets her family killed. She wants to seek revenge on this guy who I also can't remember the name of.
Creme of the Yellow Hills.
Yes, thank you. And but then Supergirl steps in and she's like, "Well, I don't want you to, seek revenge and kill this guy." And but also Creme hurt Crypto, and so she is trying to go after Creme, but they're both trying to go after Creme for different reasons, and so that's the whole thing. And then Lobo shows up in the middle.
In the movie, not the comic.
Yeah, that's like the big addition. Besides, they made Creme have pointy things all over him.
I was really surprised when this was announced that. Well, I say when it was announced. We didn't find this out until quite a bit later. When this was announced, I assumed the villain would be replaced by somebody in more traditional DC that we were familiar with. And actually, when they announced Lobo, I thought that he might be just the straight-up bad guy, which may have made sense, really, because, I mean, you would be changing, some of the thrust of the story, obviously, because it wouldn't be like a sadist who murdered her family, but he is a killer and he is an assassin, and he could have been hired for some reason to kill Ruthie's dad, and then she's going after Lobo, and Supergirl's got to stop him from killing Lobo. You couldn't have had the ending of that book.
No.
In the movie.
I mean, old Lobo would be great. I mean.
And I, as always, we'll do our sign flips and do non-spoiler at the beginning, and then we'll go into full-on spoilers after that. So I won't tell folks how it ends, but I will say it's not exactly what the book did, and it follows the book story a little more than I thought it would, and also goes its own way quite a bit. So like it's, I wouldn't say loose adaptation. I would say like adaptation. I would say like half adaptation.
Yeah, because I was hearing it's a loose adaptation, but it's actually a better adaptation than people were giving it credit for, I think. Even though there are big changes. I mean, that I think some are for the best, some are for the worst, but we can get into that.
Well, let's go ahead and start outside of this room and let people that are in their computers, in their little screens there, have the floor. And I'm gonna let Robert start because I feel like I make Robert go last all the time.
Yeah, so before I get to my sign flip, just want to show I got green for Superman, and some green kryptonite, and red for the Flash. Ugh.
Because that's got
But,
Supergirl
yeah,
in it. Get it?
it does.
What the hell?
Well, and that movie is kind of like the remnants of what might have been with DCU because she was supposed to spin off into her own movie, and if
Right.
memory serves, the woman that wrote this movie was the same writer that was supposed to write that,
Oh.
and I think
Oh.
Gunn hired her to still do this.
Interesting.
So it's a different project, but still has some of the same
And
team
the Flash
involved.
has two
Yeah.
Supergirls in it. Right?
No.
I mean,
Well,
I
well,
it's
they
it's about
can't.
the
CGI
Ellen
Helen
Slater,
Slater.
CGI Ellen Slater. Yeah,
Oh yeah, they did that. If that's what you're talking about.
Mm,
that's true.
it is.
But I thought you meant like the Supergirls talking to each other, like you have two Flashes talking to each other.
No, I love that movie.
I'm totally gonna let Robert do a sign flip. Go ahead, Robert.
Well, but before I get to my sign flip, I will say best thing for me is Millie Alcock. I think she's perfect casting for this role. I first saw this actress in the House of the Dragon TV show. I thought she was wonderful in that. I think she's perfect as Kara here, and I think the correct casting for this adaptation. Again, no disrespect to Sasha Cali from the Flash movie, who I thought was fine. It's not her fault for why that movie turned out the way it did. But Millie Alcock, I think is fantastic. So that's easily my best thing. She's as good as I expected her to be. My worst thing, like, there's a really obvious place I could go to for my worst thing that I figure somebody else will probably have, but I'm gonna say worst thing for me is editing, clunky editing. I'm really curious to learn just how much stuff was cut out of this movie because to me this felt really chopped up. Um, and I don't know how true that is or not. That's just what I felt watching it. There are a number of scenes I thought were just paced awkwardly and edited strangely. It's not the worst editing I have ever seen. That crown jewel still goes to Suicide Squad
Yeah.
from 2016. And you're probably going to hear me say that a lot. Like, well, it's not the worst I've ever seen.
Earlier today,
which
sorry, I
you know
gotta
is
tell you this.
hype.
Earlier today, Jason goes, "I want to edit a whole movie like a trailer," and I said that's already been made.
I had
It's Suicide Squad.
forgotten about that movie because I watched that for the first time on DCU Mania, and I just completely forgot about it because it's Suicide Squad. So
Oh, I don't know how you forget that. That's
No,
baffling
I-
before it's boring. Anyway, sorry, Robert. Go ahead.
That's not the only place where this actually reminded me of Suicide Squad, but we'll get into that later. So yeah, coming into this, I'm not like a massive fan of the comic or anything. I actually just read the comic for the first time right before seeing the movie, which was that a good or a bad idea? I don't know. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. The reaction to this movie is interesting. Like you said, very mixed. I was really looking forward to this movie. I love James Gunn's Superman, and
It's the most polarizing super something movie since Man of Steel.
yeah, like
I think.
fair
That's fair to
enough,
say.
or BVS, like either or.
Well,
It's complicated.
that's fair. But I feel like BVS is more maligned than it's polarizing. Like,
It
there's
is.
people that like that. That is not a half-half split like Man of Steel was.
No, absolutely. So like I said, Millie Alcock was great. There's some good stuff in here. Definitely some scenes I like. But overall, I'm sorry to say I'm not really feeling it. I didn't care too much for this movie. I didn't hate it. Like I'm not mad about it. I didn't think it was terrible. But I just didn't enjoy it very much, and that's a bummer because I was like, this is easily my biggest disappointment of the year so far as movies go. Like it didn't hate it. It's not awful. I just didn't care much for it. It's there's a lot of potential here. Like all the ingredients were here for something fantastic, in my opinion. And I don't know what happened. It just didn't come together for me. So yeah, like there were long stretches of the movie where I was just like, I'm just not liking this very much, and I don't think it comes together at the end, which is a shame because again, there's good stuff here. But yeah, not feeling it. Sorry to say.
Wow. Okay, let's go next to. Do you want to go next, or should I
Sure.
go, Connor? Okay,
I'll go next.
Go ahead, Jason.
Because I actually had a similar thing with Robert.
Because you also watched it
Robert.
right before.
So
I'm sorry, you also read the book right
I
before.
binged Woman of Tomorrow this morning and then watched it this afternoon.
Okay.
So it was really fresh in my mind. And like Robert said, I don't know if that was a good or bad thing. I think I might have actually enjoyed this movie more if I hadn't read the book. Just because there were some things that I really, really loved from that book that just aren't in here at all. So, like the best things from this book, they don't do. And we can get into that. But I had a really, really weird experience with this movie. And I do have, for a couple of reasons, and I do have a, this movie made me feel. And that is, this movie made me feel like I was watching what I was scared James Gunn's Superman was going to be, which is way too sci-fi-ified, and every alien looks like they're from the Guardians movies, and there's a song in every scene, and
Yes.
there's like slow-mo all the time, and like, and that's this movie. So I don't know, I was getting too much like what I didn't want to have James Gunn in a Superman movie in this movie, and so, and it wasn't even directed by him.
Ironic because he didn't make it.
Yeah, and obviously, you know, he was a big part of it. You know, he produced it, I think. I mean, obviously.
I mean, his name's going to be on every one of these as a producer.
But he
was,
had a heavier hand.
Yeah, he was more hands-on than he might be with some other things. I mean, we'll see. I read that he was only on set right at the start, and then he gave it over to the director and let him make his movie. But I mean, he was involved in some of the song selection. I mean, like, he was certainly more involved than just, okay, have at it.
Yeah.
I also wonder if Woman of Tomorrow was his idea and then he found a director to do it.
Yeah.
As opposed to somebody came to him with, I want to adapt specifically this material. Given the fact that Tom King is writing on Lanterns, I think, it seems like he's been, from the start, supposed to be kind of a big part of the DCU.
Yeah.
But anyways, they're good.
The other thing is, that made this a weird experience for me, is through the entire movie, I had very, very mixed feelings, and it would change like in the middle of a scene. It would be like, oh, this is not good. Oh wait, no, this is hilarious, or this is great now. Oh, it's not great again. And it would just change, and I'm like, I don't know how I'm leaning, you know, because I'm thinking about my sign flip when I watch movies. Which is your fault. And but
that's a strong burden to bear, Cap. Wow.
But that choice was kind of decided for me by the last like 15 minutes of the movie, because, you know, I was super mixed, and then so I think my worst thing is going to be just the entirety of the last 15 minutes of the movie. It was the worst thing about this. I did not like any of it. And it kind of made me choose whether it was good or bad. I will say Robert kind of stole my best thing, which is Millie Alcock. I don't know what my best thing would be.
Well, I mean, just more specific about what you liked about what she was doing or something.
Yeah. I think, well, I can't really say that either.
What, spoilers?
No, I was going to say the entire cast is good. You know, I'll say Jason Momoa is my best thing. is
Okay.
like my second best thing besides Millie Alcock, because I liked him a lot too. But no, it's my I'm not feeling it. It sucks
Jason,
because
you know what was odd about this?
My sign flip is no.
I love things about this movie. But I don't want to see it again. Like I don't want to watch this movie.
Really?
Again. No.
Like ever?
No. I'd rather read the comic again because it was actually pretty good.
You're gonna be on the rewind.
Oh no.
Yeah, obviously, I'll expand on this more later. Because for me, like, I don't care if an adaptation sticks super closely to the source material or if it's wildly different and goes its own direction. I don't care. I just care if the product is good. I just care if the movie is good.
No.
What was really strange about watching this, which I didn't think the script to this movie was awful or anything, but just with what we got, like with what the finished film is, like in my opinion, watching this movie felt like watching a first draft, and reading the comic feels like the final draft. It's very strange.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, the other
I can totally see that.
yeah, another big thing that did turn me off was just
Well, Tom King's original pitch with with Woman of Tomorrow, did include Lobo,
oh really?
which is kind of interesting.
Oh, interesting. But I think the biggest turnoff for me is Woman of Tomorrow is very like fantasy based, and you don't get any like the best thing about that book is the art and what it looks like, and it just doesn't. They didn't translate it at all. They did their own thing, and I just don't love the way that they went.
It's much more epic fantasy set in space.
Yeah,
Which is even a distinction that I would make over, like, the space fantasy that Star Wars is.
yeah.
Or like the science fantasy. There's so little emphasis put on the technology, and you've got a lot of kind of old world speak, and Ruthie is almost speaking in like a Tolkien kind of way.
Yeah.
We do comment the super horse toward the end, and it feels like that choice is spoilers for that book, but it feels like that choice is partly because, well, it's a big fantasy thing, and flying horses feel like a cool fantasy thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I will say
There's a real mythic nature to that this movie did not seem interested in.
I will say about this movie, it is the best live action Supergirl movie. So there's that.
You like it even better than the 1984 Helen Slater film that I happen to have on VHS right next to me. Look how bulky this box is! It's amazing.
So yep, that's my like spoiler free thing review, best thing, worst thing.
But you've got lots to say later.
I do, yeah.
Okay. Let's hear next from Connor.
Yeah, so I'd say we haven't talked much about like this movie, at least not me and you or anybody on the channel, Cap, but
Yeah.
This is a movie that I've kind of just been writing off as that'll be pretty good, because I can't think of another movie that's probably been better teed up for like someone like me, where I kind of like I pay for YouTube so I don't get advertised to. I don't want to. I kind of choose my seat at the theater and then I skip trailers. So like I kind of go out of my way to not be advertised to. And so like marketing for a film is something that I'm often not really susceptible to. So when I went and saw the Superman movie last year, I really liked it. I felt good at the end. And so when you get the little, oh, Crypto is Supergirl's dog. Here's Millie Alcock as Supergirl. Whoop, whoop. I was like, hey, cool. That's like a nice little backdoor that makes me excited to see the next movie in this series, which is going to be Supergirl. And then like a week later or something, they released that like teaser image. Hey, Superman was look up. This one's look out. It's Supergirl. Here she is drinking a slushie. And I'm like, hey, that kind of fits the attitude that was kind of promised to me at the end of Superman. That movie, probably going to be pretty good. And then something weird happened, which is I felt like I heard like nothing about the movie ever since then. Like to the degree that like I thought this movie was coming out next month. I thought it would kind of be claiming the same July slot that Superman had last year. So I think last week when you said Supergirl was coming out this weekend, I thought, oh, it is? Like, I think I maybe saw the teaser trailer, but I didn't see anything else for it afterwards. And so I guess like I guess I'll just show my hand in terms of like feeling it, not feeling it. Not feeling it because I spent a lot of this movie just kind of wondering what happened to this. And like, because I got to be honest, like, I didn't hate this movie. I spent the weekend at the theater and I watched 3 movies. I watched Supergirl, I watched The Mandalorian and Grogu, and I watched Masters of the Universe. The best of these was somehow Masters of the Universe. But I will say, Supergirl was not the worst one. On a boat of 3, you know. But
I haven't seen Mandalorian still yet. I'm maybe finally gonna go next week if it's still in the theater. I cannot wait to see it now after you put He-Man over it.
No, he put Supergirl over it too.
That's amazing.
But I will say I'm pretty burnt out on epic science fantasy adventure right now.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these movies follow they're going for a similar thing. They're kind of going at it like slightly different variations, and I don't know. Like I did not hate this, but I spent a lot of it just kind of waiting for it to click into gear, and then I realized I was halfway through the movie and it hadn't really clicked into gear yet, and I kind of felt like what I was looking at was something that was just doing all it could to salvage itself. And like, here's what I'll say. The thing that kept going through my head is that I think it properly conveys the information, but it never conveys the feeling. And I guess I have to wonder that this is probably an issue of direction. This movie is directed by Craig Gillespie, and I did not care for this movie. He made a movie that I liked before called I, Tonya, and he's made a movie called Lars and the Real Girl back in 2007 that a lot of people really like. I have not seen that. But if I look back at most Craig Gillespie movies, I kind of feel the same way. He did the Fright Night remake. He did Cruella. He did Dumb Money. I don't like any of these movies, and I don't like them for kind of the same reason. And even movie that I like, I, Tonya, it has a lot of the same issues. Like, visually speaking, like there is some like green screen compositing and like face replacement stuff that is very obvious. And in that movie, I kind of wanted to chalk it up to being a lower budget. But man, especially when you get to the last, Jayson said 15 minutes. I would say the entire final act, like at that point, it was kind of going from just sort of being middling to being pretty obviously subpar. Like I thought that the movie really failed to bring it all together. And I think another issue of direction is just that it doesn't really escalate. Like I like that it has an episodic structure, but that episodic structure becomes redundant and repetitive, and it doesn't really escalate in dramatically meaningful ways. So when you get to the end, like it doesn't really reach any kind of catharsis. So I guess, yeah, my biggest problem here is direction. I think it's competent, but it's not. I don't really see what the vision here is. As far as best thing goes, I mean, I wish I liked the cast. I think these are all good actors, but I didn't believe them as any of the characters. I felt like I was looking at screen tests the whole time, like really good screen tests. But I guess I'll say Crypto. Crypto's cute. I like Crypto. Crypto's my favorite part of the movie.
Wow. He's hardly in it.
I like dogs, right? Yeah.
Tonight, Connor is drinking out of his glass he got from Argo City. Look at that.
Oh, I forgot to talk about Crypto. That's my second worst.
Oh, hold on. Best thing about the movie is they somehow
You
convinced
said
David.
You're like, that's my second worst.
Yeah, that's my other worst thing.
Crypto sucks.
Best thing about the movie. The best thing about the movie is that it convinced me that David Krumholtz could believably be Bradley Cooper's brother. I never thought that would be possible. So there you go.
Oh, I forgot about Crypto.
Yeah.
Oh
My
no.
my review of this movie is really just this phase. Like, I was with it the first half hour. I really
You were
was.
really in it.
And I was kind of impressed with how much more I was enjoying it than most everybody I was hearing from. And I was like, I don't know what people are talking about. I was liking how like spunky her performance was, and I was finding her somehow not. Talking about Millie Alcock, I was surprised how even though she is self-destructive and going on a binger and has no direction or purpose, and even though we haven't even gotten, I mean, I can guess at what it is being a fan of this character, but even though we haven't gotten her motivation for any of that yet, which isn't given to us until about halfway through the movie, and I was fine with that. I didn't find her obnoxious. I wasn't disliking her like I thought I might. I was worried the way she was introduced at the end of Superman, actually, in a way that nobody else I talked to seemed to have been. I'll be like, oh, she looks fun, and I'm just like, oh, do I want to watch drunk Supergirl the whole movie? Like, I'm aware of what she does in the comic, but introducing her like that, I was feeling like maybe that would end up being her prevailing character trait, and she would play as kind of her own comic relief in that way. And I found her like infinitely charming through the first half an hour. And then, and I'm not going to say there was this sudden shift where I don't like her anymore. I lost her inside of her own movie, at least to some degree, which is odd because if we played it more like King's book did, our Eyes In character would have actually been more Ruthie, and we would have used her as a device to get to know Supergirl and to kind of discover what she's like in comparison to that character, and gallivanting around the galaxy and stuff. And instead, it ends up playing as, through most of the movie anyway, is almost like a dual protagonist thing. And I don't know how this even happens. I lost sight of both of them, even though we're always following one of them. It's like even while I'm in the room with these characters, I'm not connected to them. And I felt really, you guys were talking earlier about just like not feeling much from this movie. I had that after the first half an hour where I was just having a hard time grabbing on to anything. This movie made me feel like it should have been my favorite movie of the year. Like that would be my board. And I kept going, okay, on paper, a lot of this is cool and should work. I can get into details and split hairs and tell you why the execution of some of it doesn't, and tell you why the initial idea works, but there's like the one thing they ought to have tweaked. I have that with some of the Krypton stuff, etc. But overall, I can't figure out why this doesn't come together and why it was this damn hard. Like it should have been that hard. I kind of to Connor's point, it looks like it ought to have been a pretty easy home run. And I'm not gonna say that it should have just completely directly lifted the comic straight off the page. My last read of that, I went ahead and read it also recently, not 15 minutes before the movie. I saw the movie, Jayson, like you did, and like Robert did. And Connor, have you read it, or are you going into this cold not knowing the book? Okay, I'm glad
you still didn't like it. Okay,
I'm glad we've got somebody. I'm glad we've got that example, because that's a thing I was kind of curious about, is how people who maybe like Superman lore and this character but have not read that book would take it, because I think I probably dislike it more because I know that material. But I'll also say I didn't have a great read of it this last time. I loved it the first time I read it, and I was not on a high with it second time out. There's kind of some Tom King-isms that jumped out at me that didn't the first time around, and then I saw the movie, and now I'm working my way back around. I'm liking it a lot more. It's just, like I said earlier, it's missing that mythic quality to the material. And you can say, well, you can start with the germ of an idea from the thing and then go your own way and carve out your own tone. Yes, absolutely you can. but you gotta have your own vision if you're not gonna use his. Like, what's the vision? Like, what's the mission statement? What's the purpose of this? Um, I felt like it watched like a high school assignment to me. It watched like somebody was handed this book, go make that, and then the guy made that and didn't necessarily like what was most interesting and fun and original about that book, like the reasons that book got popular. Um, and so again, it could have had more of a sci-fi bent than a fantasy bent. I don't know why you would adapt specifically this material, and if you were going to do that, I would change more about it. Some of what's frustrating about this is there's actually too much left from the book if you're not going to adapt. If you're not going to adapt it more straight, like I said, I wanted it to have its own vision and kind of go its own way. Like Jayson said, they left some of the coolest set pieces out of the book. I actually disagree with Connor when he says that this is going with in episodic structure, because the book really does that, and I actually wanted more of that from this.
Knowing that it's Tom King, I suspected it was going to be like that.
Sure, absolutely, but it needed more of them. It needed to feel more varied. They left some of the best ones out. They left the dumbest one in, which I'll talk about later. There's one that doesn't make any friggin' sense to me.
Yes.
I don't understand it. First read, I don't think it bothered me. I actually want to go back to my review and see what I said about it, because it jumped out at me like crazy reading it a second time, and I went, well, I hope they don't put that in the movie. And they did, and they still adapted it really poorly.
Yeah, but the problem is they did the worst part, but that's one of the coolest parts in that if you just forget about the thing that we can bring up.
Yeah, sure.
But
no,
they
the
took
execution
out
of it
the
in the
cool
book is
thing
great.
from that part.
No, I know.
They made it dull.
Sorry, what part is it from the book? What part of the movie?
I know what they're talking about, I think.
We're talking about the Green Sun.
Yep.
Okay.
It's so stupid.
Okay, and maybe I missed something. The way it plays in the movie is like she's just allergic to the color green.
Yeah,
that's how
the book plays it too. It's like Golden Age Green Lantern logic.
I had the thought of that where I was like, wait a minute. That did make me raise an eyebrow.
Yeah, the way the suns work in this in general is so like kindergarten logic, and like that kind of thing works okay if you're like doing silly Golden Age stuff and you're playing it really straight. But I don't know how to explain this. The movie itself just doesn't have that sense of like heightened fun and imagination and wit, and like it doesn't earn that. It honestly,
Superman had it.
Superman did have that, but it honestly feels like it wants to be really brutish and tragic, and I'm not against that, but I don't think it blends its humor and stuff well enough with that. And then we'll talk about this when we get into spoilers. I'm massively resisting the ending. And I'll explain how I think I could have been won over on it, even if it's not what I would have done. But we do a thing at the end that I have a hard time not just disagreeing with on principle and wanting to be won over on it, and then it doesn't do anything. There's no follow through with it. It needed the proper epilogue and it didn't get it. And so we'll talk about all of that. It hurts my feelings to flip green on this. It really does, because like I said, or to flip red. I'm sorry.
Oh my god!
Look, I would be flipping green if I was Kryptonian and I didn't like this movie, because then that's the color of what kills me.
Yeah, but
you
here's
see,
the thing: if you flip green, then Supergirl might die. So
Well, actually, you're screwed either way with the sign if you're Kryptonian. Because if you flip green, you're poisoned, and if you flip red, your powers don't work, and you can be shot and killed. So, like, any way you slice it, we need a yellow, side. Anyway. Best thing, worst thing, and again, I'm going to echo Connor. I didn't hate this. I think it disappointed me and it hurt my feelings more than it did Connor. But Supergirl's like a real, is one of my favorite characters, and a lot of people seem to be complaining that it doesn't have more of the gun Superman vibe, and that she is not more chipper and is so much different from Superman. I mean, I liked that about it. I liked that I got kind of my ragey Supergirl, and this is going to be a lot of people's kind of introduction to that version of it, because that's not what the TV show did with it at all. Of course, that's a much more altruistic in the first place kind of version. I think in certain ways and places they're compensating, especially with that ending. They're overcompensating too much, where they're trying to make it such an extreme opposite of Superman that I think that actually ends up hurting it. But at least out the gate, I really like that. It's really hard not to just say best thing is her, like a couple of you guys did. It sounds like Connor's not buying her performance. I did. I didn't buy some other performances. In fact, you know what? I'm gonna say, God, I feel so mean right now, because obviously I wanted to love this, but I think she's actually the only actor that works for me at all.
Well, can I say what
I'm
my
surprised to say.
other?
I didn't
'Cause
like Ruthie either. Like that
No.
actress is trying, but like there's supposed to be this real bond that's built between them. Again, like you have in the book, and I didn't see it. There's not a romance in this movie, but the closest thing to it is just their friendship, and the chemistry's not there.
Mhm. I was just gonna say, if I didn't go first, because I figured a lot of us would have Billy Alcock as our best thing. My other best thing was going to be David Cornsweet as Superman. Still, like, he's not in the movie a lot, but his scenes were some of my favorite in the movie.
Well, I still love him in
man,
that role, but his stuff felt real tacked on to me. It doesn't help that I know they were.
Oh, it probably was. Yeah.
That doesn't help, but I think I would have the same complaint. You know what? I'm gonna say worst thing. I'm sorry. I should give an actual honest to God best thing before I do that. I guess I'm gonna say until that ending, which I'm extremely mixed on, if not just outright not happy with. I'm still trying to decide where I'm landing on it. But up until then, I did really like the kind of pathos and tragedy with her, and how that's mixed with her kind of more spunky personality. I enjoyed some of that stuff quite a bit. Worst thing, and so not a cop out best thing. Okay, that's a pretty big thing. I mean, she is a lot of fun, I think. But my worst thing is gonna be, this goes back to something to Robert's worst thing, but it's not exactly the same thing. I'm not gonna say editing. I'm just gonna say the genuine sense of padding. Like the lack of meat on the bone. This movie feels like, as far as much story as it's telling, it could have been done in a 45-minute TV episode. And it really shouldn't feel like that. That's part of where I'm missing some of the more like kind of episodic nature of it. And you guys are right that you need rising action, and it needs to feel like the stakes are getting bigger and bigger, and that it's not just repeating itself. Because I agree, it does have that to some degree, but considering how much just objectively happens in it, it's weird how much it sags in the middle, where I really feel like it's just kind of ticking down the time. I was gonna say the same thing Connor did to open my little speech. What happened? It's like my whole review is just I don't even get how it was made like this. It's hard not to feel, and it's so weird because of the way Gunn seems to be approaching this stuff. It feels like studio meddling. It really does. It feels like what we've got at the end is not what it started with, and not in like an improvement kind of way. It's just kind of baffling. But yeah, it feels like pieces are missing, and it feels like last minute changes were made. And I had the same feeling walking out that I did at the end of Man of Steel, where I'm like, you did a big thing at the end, and you didn't really write the rest of it to match. Not to the same degree and extent as that, but I did kind of have that a little bit. So anyway, yeah.
This is one of those weird movies, and like this is never a good sign where it feels like to me like you need an extra 20 or 30 minutes for this to be really good, but what we got feels longer than it actually is. It's very strange, like you said, with it just dragging in the middle.
Yeah, you didn't need an extra 20 or 30 minutes. You needed the right 20 or 30
different
minutes.
20 or 30
Right.
minutes.
Changed out in and out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I do want to respectfully disagree with David Cornsweet. I thought he was really bad in this.
Oh, okay.
I thought they dumbed down Superman in the few things he's in, and they made him just really stupid. I don't know. That's how I thought he was written completely different than he is in his own movie, and it nothing to David Cornsweet. I mean, he's doing the same performance, but just I didn't like him at all in this. I didn't know why he needed to be in this at all.
Can I address something just real fast?
Yeah.
The Universe is right that I was enthusiastic originally after walking out of Man of Steel, but I'm talking specifically about the ending, and I always felt weird about it.
Are you still enthusiastic
No.
about Man of Steel?
No, I'm not.
Are you enthusiastic about this?
No. And I wanted to be so bad.
Yeah.
I'll say before
I was
we
ready to
jump
love
into
this against all odds. Like all the
Mhm.
backlash and everything. I was like, that's just like loud, stupid people on the internet. Like I don't trust it yet. And some of the stuff people are saying, I don't agree with. Certainly. And I don't think some of the trashing that's happening is fair. But I can't go green, kryptonite or otherwise. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Connor.
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, a couple of years ago, there was a Warner Brothers released earlier summer wannabe blockbuster female lead that was about revenge that bombed hard at the box office. But that movie rocked. It was called Furiosa. And this movie is like a less good Furiosa. That movie is like if Ruthie grew up into Supergirl and you kind of were with her every step of the way on her journey. And it's about revenge. And it's just a very different, it's a very similar kind of concept where the whole thing is about revenge. These movies have similar endings, and that movie's world building completely justifies where it goes. And I think they're really interesting case studies in where one succeeds and one fails. They're both episodically structured. That one takes place over the course of like 15 years, but yeah, I don't know. They're very similar, and especially the brigands, the villains of this, they feel very Fury Road, Furiosa inspired like villains. They feel very Mad Max.
Well, and they also
Yeah,
felt like low rent Ravagers to me. Like I saw the trailers and I went, maybe they're intentionally trying to make this look more like Guardians than it's going to feel just to sell it. I fully expected to go into this and go, no, it carved out its own tone. It's not really Guardians. There's similarities, but yeah, it is taking too many of its cues from that.
But it's also all over the place tonally. Like I can't like really pinpoint a tone with this movie, because it's not Guardians, but it's also not specifically like the Fury Road.
Well,
I
and
don't
when
know.
it gets quirky like Guardians, it feels like the world building feels obligatory to me. You know, like you can call it generic. I'm gonna say it feels like it's checking boxes. It's like, well, it's a space epic. It's supposed to have these things. So like, I want to praise it for having a bunch of different looking aliens, but I wasn't like, with like an exception or two, I wasn't like real impressed or wowed or I'm distracted by uncanny valley with CG with some of them and stuff like that. I'm not seeing the 170 $200 million on screen. I don't know where it went. I was hoping under Gunn we'd have less bloated budgets, but apparently not.
You could have spent it on a
So
horse.
it's interesting to address the Guardians thing. 'cause
Yeah,
it's
I'm
pretty
sorry. I just made like 4
unavoidable.
points at a time there, Connor.
No,
Go
no,
ahead.
no. Like, it's pretty unavoidable. Like, it's one of those things where I'm watching and I don't want to just compare it to Guardians of the Galaxy because James Gunn did Guardians of the Galaxy and he's involved with this. Here's what it's felt like to me. And now this could not be the case. I don't know if it's studio meddling, if it's a mandate from James Gunn, but it felt like to me though was Craig Gillespie pitched a movie or was in talks with some people and he went, ooh, I got hired on to do like a movie for James Gunn. Let me try to do something that kind of caters to his style. What does he do? He does Guardians of the Galaxy, and it kind of feels like he's almost like, as the director, trying to guide it in the direction of Guardians of the Galaxy. And if you want to do like your Supergirl movie as a sort of like in the shadow of Guardians of the Galaxy kind of space movie, that's not bad. I mean, it doesn't have to be. Like, there's a movie called Outland, which is very obvious. It's a space movie. It's basically High Noon in space, and it stars Sean Connery. But the vision there was very obvious. Alien was popular. Make something that looks like Alien, and you have Sean Connery as your lead. Go. And that's what it is. But the movie is well directed, and it works as what it is. It's
Well, this is supposed to
obviously
be
like
true grit in the space. If you're not going to lean into the fantasy thing, lead more into the Western thing. It's not doing either of those, really.
the thing that, but yeah, but oh my god, and like all of the narrative things that I thought of, like, why didn't they just do this? Oh, because that's true grit, and you'd be too close to true grit. Well, why didn't they do that? Oh, because that's true grit, and if you did that, it would be too close to true grit. And what if they did the other? Oh, the other is also true grit. Like true grit.
Yeah.
I guess I have a hot take. I think the 1969 True Grit is better than the 2010 True Grit, but like both of them. Well, the 1969 movie is awesome, and I think like trying to.
Are they both better than this
like,
movie?
I would say so. Like
Yes.
definitely the Coen Brothers movie is way better made. It's the best made out of any of these. But like, yeah, I thank you for bringing up True Grit. I would have forgotten it, but like, come on.
Well, and what's funny with the Guardians comparisons, Cap, is earlier I listened to your review of the comic with Austin that you guys did a few years ago, and
Oh, tell
you
me what I
guys both-
said. No, I'm sorry.
And you guys mentioned being really reminded of Guardians 2 and how colorful and fantastical that movie looks. And yeah, I totally see all the Guardians comparisons with this movie, but the one it looks the least like is Guardians 2, which is what you want it to look like. Like, because Guardians 3 like has a darker, more melancholy tone, which makes sense.
No, it looks like
Peter
Guardians
Quill
1.
and Rocket's going. And Guardians 1, I agree, it looks the most like that. But we already saw Guardians 1 over 10 years ago.
And, like, Connor
there's
said-
nothing fresh here.
Connor said he's fine with a Supergirl movie that is looking at Guardians a bit, and I think I am too. If you're not looking specifically at a fantasy book that would be way cooler as just straight fantasy.
That's
I
what
don't
I'm having.
know,
It's like knowing the material. It's really hard not to, like maybe even unfairly say, here's how you should have handled it. It should look more like this. And if it just left more details from the book out, I wouldn't have that as much. But like it doesn't really, like I said earlier, it doesn't feel like it's really going its own way with it either.
Yeah,
And-
no, that's a good point. It's also very inconsistent visually. Like when I mean like not just like visual effects, like the action sequences, like the opening action scene is so choppily edited, where she's like fighting the guys in the bar. It's like, whoa,
Mhm.
like this feels like it was supposed to be longer. And there's the sequence on the bus that is like that's the best action sequence to me, anyways,
is.
because like it
It's
does feel
pretty
like it's a legit set piece. Like the entire scene is setting up what that set is, so that you can then have an action sequence in it that is utilizing the things that were set up in it. It's a pretty cool
And
scene.
the teleporting thing is one of the more clever things in it. Like that
And
felt
then
like somebody had an
get to
idea.
Yeah, then you get to the ending and it looks like it's half rendered. Like it doesn't look
Yeah.
complete. And it's like we're going like all over the place in terms of just like visually how we're constructing these action scenes. And that's what makes it feel kind of like a salvage job, or that it's been extensively reshot or reworked or something.
I did like the
Mhm.
bus scene because that's like it's like looking at something from the book, but then turning it into an action scene, which I
Yeah.
really liked.
Well, that's cool.
By the way, full spoilers now.
Oh boy.
Okay.
So what
Well,
about
and
that green sun?
Oh god. Yeah, we'll get there. But Connor, to your comparisons to Furiosa earlier, I mean, this whole time we're not going to be like, well, in the book it's like this because it's a movie. I get it. You have to change stuff. But one change is, like you mentioned, Furiosa. You know, that movie takes place over many, many years. Well, the comic One More Tomorrow, like the story takes place over months, and you really feel that passage time. And then in the movie, we have to condense it to 3 days, which I understand, but there are some problems that come with that.
And I do want to talk
unfortunately.
about get everything out of the way that is different from the book so that we can move on,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
because and the Green Sun is part of that. The
Yep.
biggest thing is Comet is the coolest thing in that book, and I don't know why that's
I would have
not...
bet you $500 they weren't going to do that.
I knew that they weren't
And-
gonna do it,
and
but
you know what's so weird about it? Sorry, go ahead, Connor.
No, you guys like so. I kind of knew this would be True Grit with Supergirl. So when you say that, like, oh, you could have done a horse because it's like mythological. I'm like, it's also a Western
also
trope
Western.
to get your hero
Yeah.
on a horse.
Absolutely.
Like, so that makes sense to me. Yeah.
No, honestly,
yeah.
a Western Supergirl like sci-fi movie also would be awesome, but they didn't really do that.
Yeah, you go in almost more of like a Firefly vein, but
Yeah.
you got superpowers and stuff.
Yeah.
I had this weird feeling. So I walked in going, there's no way they do the horse.
Yeah.
And then I got halfway through the movie and I went, there's really no way they do the horse. Because even though they spent $200 million on it, this movie doesn't have the budget to do that horse.
No.
That's what it feels like to
And
me
the other thing
anyway.
it doesn't have the budget for is the dinosaurs. Which,
Yeah.
Yep.
That's also the second coolest thing in that book. Why is that not there? I mean, besides budget, like, which again they had $200 million.
Yeah, I already think the Green Sun thing is stupid just on a conceptual level, which we can talk about. But
You took away the thing that makes that cool.
yeah, then you get to that planet and you don't have any fun with it at all. You lose the ticking time that you had in the book, where it's because in the movie they just do it as a as a montage, and I want to think I would also be kind of bored and find this sort of dull even if I hadn't read the book. But I'm admitting that there's a bias because I prefer the way that the book handles it. But I also don't know why you wouldn't look more at that because it's more dramatic. So you took Ruthie off the planet.
Yeah.
Why'd you do that? Because in the book, she's there and she is trying to comfort Supergirl and encourage her and tell her, no, you can get through this. Supergirl is like half hallucinating and like screaming at Ruthie, and it's played almost like she's having withdrawal syndromes or something. Like with the Green Sun affecting her like kryptonite, it almost looks like she's going through rehab or something. And then you just have to hold on long enough for the yellow sun to come up. We're not even told what the stakes are. Like there's no discussion about it in the movie. It's just, well, there's the Green Sun, and she's getting all veiny like we do with Clark in Smallville with kryptonite. And then she's laying there, and it's like, it sucks. And then Ruthie gets kidnapped or whatever, if memory serves. And he's like, oh, this sucks. And then the sun comes up, and then the yellow sun, and then she's fine. And the yellow sun solves too many of her problems in this movie. Like there's not a lot of resourcefulness. I'm okay. Here's the thing. It works in the book because that's how they do it in the book. She doesn't do anything clever to get through it. Yeah, but you see her pain, like you live with it, and you wonder if she's going to be able to get through it and what she's going to be like at the end of it. And the movie, you're just kind of counting down the seconds till the sun comes up, and then now we're fine now, and then that's it. And then we just move on, and it's never comes up again. Like it doesn't feel like this, traumatic experience where she almost died. It's just one more thing.
Well,
that
and
happens.
let me also compare it to the scene in James Gunn's Superman with Clark
with the nanites.
Yeah. No, with the guy that can change into kryptonite.
Oh, sorry.
Metamorpho.
Yeah.
What?
Metamorpho.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Could not remember that. At least, like, Superman is also by himself there, right? But there's still dialogue, you know? Like, he's with Metamorpho, but instead of comfort, it's like pleading, and
and it
it's like
feels
there's
visceral,
something happening.
and it hurts my feelings, and I just didn't have that with her.
No, because she's just laying there. I don't
And
know.
I'm-
100%.
I'm forgetting what exactly, but there's one or two other places besides the sun thing at the end, which I also think is really dumb. With the
Oh no!
with the
Yeah,
kryptonite
I forgot about
system.
that.
That also didn't work to me. But I feel like there's at least one or two other places where a problem just kind of gets solved for her. Sorry, go ahead, Connor.
No, so my thought was like, oh, like we have like a green sun. For a while I was like, what? Huh? But then I was like, okay, I guess I can roll with it. But then I thought, wait a minute, what if we do like a thing where like at one point in the time, like in the day, the green sun and the yellow sun are kind of both up at the same time. And so you can get her like almost like a little powered, but kind of depowered. And it could be like really inconsistent. That could be a fun idea for like an action scene.
Sure.
But no, it is just like, boop. It is like, okay, one came up, one came down. And then you're right, like you're just waiting for like the sun to switch over. And then once the sun switches over, they go, oh, kryptonite arrows. And I was like, what? Like,
Yeah, that's what you were talking about earlier with how repetitive it gets in the back half of the movie, and that's part of what I meant earlier when I said this feels like a first draft. Is we have two scenes in a not like little scenes, but basically have two scenes in a row. One where Supergirl is betrayed by somebody and poisoned, and then taken out of commission for a minute. And then next sequence, she's betrayed and dumped on a planet with the green sun. And I'm like, why are we doing these two scenes back to back? Why wouldn't you merge them? It's regardless of what the comic did. What? Like it's
Yeah.
and then the kryptonite arrows at the end. I was like, oh come on.
well, I mean, the villain is lame in this movie. I guess I didn't hate him the way everyone seems to
And
be
none of
hating
us
him,
used
but-
that as worst thing.
I almost
Surprising.
brought it up.
Yeah, Robert ignored it because he thought somebody else would say it, and once it got to me, I should have said it.
I
But
almost
I
said
forgot because I figured because like somebody should have said it
But,
by now, so I didn't.
I
think
do want to
say
talk
it.
about that. Okay.
He
That
just blended into the
villain,
wallpaper for me. Like I had like no opinion of the guy. Like
that
Same.
villain is already lame in the comic. That's the problem, and they made him more lame.
Mhm.
In an attempt to make him more visually distinct and memorable, they just made him goofy and also unmemorable.
And
Sorry, did you notice, Connor? And I'm saying Connor because I'm just imagining you specifically in the theater reacting to this. So tell me if you did. Did you find the score compensating massively to telegraph to the audience he's supposed to be menacing? Because, like, whenever he would show up, he would do something that's supposed to be scary and maybe go, oh my god, this guy's nuts. Like, he's the bad guy. And then the score would just be like, bah! And I'm like, I'm not scared of this guy. And the score is like, no, really? Bah!
see, my answer is no, because that would mean I would have taken notice of the score at all.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
didn't. And you will say that
It's just
I
not
would've
fair, but
used-
that composer should be paid a third of what composers are usually paid because there's no music in this movie.
Well, apparently she was also the third composer brought in.
Yes.
And she was just brought in like a
At the
few
last
months
minute.
what?
Well, it's more impressive knowing that.
Huh?
Well, I think that
the
might
theme
be
they
why
did
there's
for this
so
movie,
many
I thought
needle
was
drops.
fine when you actually got it.
Oh, and that's what they spent the $200 million on.
I did
was the
not-
needle drops.
Yeah, I did not need the 45 needle drops.
Oh,
and
boy.
again, it takes away that mythic nature of it.
Yeah.
Where it's like, does it want to be like a fun, bombastic, like punk rock thing in space, or does it want to be a more traditional space epic?
But yeah, also the performance for Krem is like not great. I mean, he has his kryptonite arrows, and he's like, "You see it? What I got? Look at this! It's super cool." I'm like, dude, shut up.
See, okay, I got a question about this guy. Like, okay, I guess we're on the topic of the villain. I don't get him. Like, it's one of those things where I thought this guy just kind of comes off like a numbskull, you know, like he's just like a dope. I'm like, why is this guy the leader of the brigands? Why can't he just be like a lackey who just kind of went off and like did something stupid? And wait, that's True Grit. You can't do that because that's True Grit.
Well, people in the
Uh,
comments were saying he's like if Taserface was the main villain.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well,
But
and
then, like-
also comparing it to the book, he's in it too much.
He is in it way too much. Yep.
Yeah.
well,
The thing is, the book's
Well,
not
then-
that much about him. He's the
No.
cat, not until the end. And that's one of the things that's interesting about the book is you really kind of lose him, and he's two-dimensional on purpose, and then he comes alive toward the end when he's kind of redeemed. And this movie's not interested in that. It doesn't do that whole thing. And I'm not saying it has to, but if he's gonna have more screen time, you need to like make him, draw him a little bit, or at the very least make him I don't know, scary enough. Like make him more of a force of nature kind of villain.
Well, yeah, but like making him such a dope really undercuts like any kind of like menace that I think they're trying to go for. But it's like if you just want to like have this guy who is capable of scary actions, but once you have him under the under the sword, he's just like a pathetic loser. Go for like a Gollum type thing, a little bit. Like that could be something you could do. The thing is, I just don't really feel like we land on really anything with him, and because like he's also like halfway through, we decide he's like keeping women hostage as brides, a la Immortan Joe from Mad Max Fury Road, and it's like okay. Then, by the way, like one of the brides gets like a payoff at the end that feels like there's an entire subplot that's been removed from the movie.
Mhm.
That's weird. But like, so I'm supposed to believe that he's kind of like a dummy, but he also remembers that he hurt Crypto. He remembers that Supergirl is Crypto's owner, and he wears an antidote around his neck because I guess he's just an a-hole to taunt her. Weird. Okay. And then later, he also, I guess, somehow off screen, or like, he found out that she was A, a Kryptonian, and B, built kryptonite arrows, or I guess B point or A point B acquired kryptonite, and then B made kryptonite arrows. And I'm just like, there's just way too much not happening on screen, or that I can infer from this guy when I am looking at him, to where it does feel like you're like on the playground and this guy is just pulling out infinite powers to like counter your powers. Like it just feels like it's just screenwriting utility as opposed to like a character.
And it's not how you do a quest movie. Like
Right.
No,
they're on a
yeah,
quest to kill this guy, and they gotta find him. And oh man, can we find him? And then we're gonna have adventures on the way, and occasionally we catch up to him. But oh no, he gets the better of us, and he gets away. Yeah, that's what the book does. And the reason I'm saying it should do it more like the book does is because this version of Krem has confusing motivations. He steals Supergirl's ship, and he flies off. And then, for no reason I understand, by the middle of the movie, is looking for them. Why?
Yeah.
Now,
Question.
although I don't actually know that for sure. He's either looking for them, or it's the couple's idea that are on the planet where they've had their daughter taken away into sex slavery, right? And they're like, well, we can sell. If we can poison Supergirl and incapacitate Ruthie, we can sell the two of them to get our daughter back. But like, do they already know that Krem is like out there and after her, or do they come up with this idea just in the midst of her explaining it? I was lost on that, but it doesn't matter, because then after that whole thing, Krem is after them, and there's like a throwaway line about like she'd make a great trophy or something. Well, you gotta set up what kind of pirates / ravagers / whatever these guys are. Like in the book, it's set up really early that these guys are just sadists, and they're stealing things to survive, yes, but they also go into communities and they have their fun, Tom King says, and they find excuses to just go, basically like burn down villages, if this was put in like medieval parlance. And they and so that's what they do to enjoy themselves, and we're just not given any of that exposition in this. So like I don't really know why they're doing anything they're doing, but again, regardless of that, it's just a good quest story would have him in the background, and you're after him, and oh man, we caught up to him, what are we going to do now? And then it's one step forward, two steps back, and if you do that, you're by definition not going to repeat yourself as much.
Mm-hmm. Also, question: in the opening, when Krem kills Ruthie's family, why doesn't he take Ruthie?
Oh, good question.
Because she has to go after him with revenge. I have another question. So Connor was talking about how he's got an antidote around his neck just to be a douche face. I don't know why I said it like that. And that's what it looks like. Anyway, so I never use that word. I'm just in a bad mood because I wanted to love this movie. Anyway, so douche face McGee. He's got.
He's not taser face. He's douche face.
Exactly. Anyway, sorry. I apologize. We are in fact. Connor, I'm not taking up for it actually, but we are in fact told why he has that, which is why it doesn't make any sense to me. The reason he has it, and it makes sense for him to do this kind of thing, is that he'll go into villages, planets, whatever, and he'll torture people for information. So he will hit them with the dart, and then he'll say, oh, you're dying, but I have the antidote, and if you don't want to die, you tell me what you want to know. We're told that.
Oh. Okay, I guess I must have missed that, yeah.
Yeah, that's in there. Robert, did you catch that?
I think I missed that.
I missed it.
So. Okay. I'll take your word for it. I'll take your word for it.
Just go with me. It's in there. That is explained. The problem is, somebody in the comments corroborate this. I'm positive that's in there because I don't think my brain would have made that up.
No, I believe you because I could have sworn I glazed. If it was during the part where she's talking to the medicine person in the tent, my eyes kind of glazed over because I was noticing the editing in that scene, so I wasn't really paying attention.
I don't even remember
the problem.
A medicine person or a tent, so.
Well, yeah, it's that X-Files alien chick with the big eyes that's got crypto in the and we go back to her at the end to get crypto.
Yeah, right.
She's in it twice.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so Jason's losing the film. Okay.
I am.
So
it's a very easy thing to do in Jason's defense.
No, it is. Okay, so here's the thing, Connor. It's so massively contrived the way we get crypto sick because. Keep in mind that the opening scene, which by the way feels the need to dramatize Ruthie's family's death in a way the book doesn't, it would have been much more efficient to introduce Supergirl into the bar in the first place as opposed to passed out in her spaceship, and then we find out what's happened to her family through that, and then you build up Krem as this scary bad guy that we're gonna meet here in a couple of minutes. That would the movie doesn't know how to be dramatic. It's part of the problem.
It's also just really overkill.
But here's the thing. In that scene where Krem kills her family, he is negotiating with the father, and there's a teenage kid that's been listening to music on his headphones, and he's not heard all the scary things that are happening, and so he's just being silly and runs in to the room and is like, hey everybody, and then Krem turns around and shoots him dead. Why did he hit Crypto with a dart? Why didn't he just shoot him dead?
I thought he threw a hatchet or something at it. I could be misremembering that.
The thing he did killed those people. Why is Crypto hit with a dart? Now you could say, and Jayson suggested this, that when he walks in there, he's just not carrying any other weapons on him. Why not?
I know. I said that, and then I immediately thought, why would he not? But here's the thing, though. I think I said this in our Superman review. Crypto was my worst thing in the Superman, in James Gunn's Superman, and they did it again. They did it again. They did the my least favorite thing from Superman, and they did it again.
What do you mean, just having him there?
Having him be the thing that motivates the main character to get the bad guy again because he's hurt or like got
Captured or something.
Yeah,
captured. And,
obviously you wouldn't have that if Superman hadn't happened, but it feels like a pretty modern trope at this point where we use the pet and very often it's a dog.
It's also kind of in the comic.
Yeah, but here's the thing, it feels almost, I don't want to say emotionally manipulative or necessarily cynical, but it's almost like Gunn looked at that comic and was like, let's make this a movie so that we can have the dogs in peril thing again, but we'll just we'll just take the twist out of it.
oh yeah, Connor.
Because spoilers, but Connor,
hmm
in the book, the dog is not actually dying. Supergirl just lies to Ruthie and claims that so that she can get information from Ruthie. It's a manipulation tactic. It doesn't actually happen in the book.
Yeah,
And
Crypto is
because of the
shot with
way
an arrow early on.
But because of the way he gets hit and then you have the antidote and all of that in this, I knew from the very beginning they couldn't do that twist.
Then they have the 10. Oh man.
I feel free to disagree with me. Because
Yeah.
Kara is in kind of a different, where the movie is very different from the comic, and I understand you need to make changes, is in the comic, like, this is an established Supergirl who has been like a superhero for years and years and years,
Yeah.
but still, dealing with her grief and stuff over Krypton, and this is recontextualizing that story as like her origin story.
Yeah.
Because yes, like, she's been doing Supergirl stuff, but she hasn't found herself yet. That's a big point of the movie.
That's right.
Do you think there's a version of this that could have worked where Ruthie lies to her about how the poison works to get
Yeah.
Supergirl to tag along?
Yeah. Absolutely. No, that's a good call. And
Just thought.
I'm not saying the whole movie doesn't work and falls apart because you did the dogs in peril thing. I'm just saying it's a little overused.
I agree.
Yeah.
Very quickly, I wanted to mention that when the box office estimates came out yesterday, I think it said that this was made 32 million opening. Well, the actuals came in, and it really came. Oh, sorry, they said it came at 38 was the estimate. Well, the actuals came in, and it's 37.1, so it was lower, and that's important to note because Joker Folie à Deux had an opening of 37.6.
Oh no! It did
What?
It did worse than the Marvels.
Yep, it did worse than the Marvels.
Wow.
The Marvels was MCU's to date lowest grossing film, and it did worse than that.
What?
And now that I've seen the movie, like, I expect this to have a really massive drop off. Like, this is not going to have legs, unfortunately.
Especially like
No.
in this look, the Minions are coming out next week, guys. We all love the Minions.
It couldn't even win the weekend. Like it lost
yeah.
to Toy Story 5 on its second weekend.
By like almost half. Like
And
Toy Story
again,
5
it's
almost doubled.
it's important to note that not a lot of that can be word of mouth because it just came out.
Well, that's kind of going back to what I was mentioning at the beginning. Is I just feel like I didn't see hardly any marketing for this movie. Like, I mean, I saw posters when I went to the theater, but like compared to like Superman, like anytime I was like at the grocery store, I saw Superman dog food. When I drove by the Dairy Queen, there was like a Superman Blizzard. When I feel like that might have been like the most marketed movie ever. Like it was everywhere.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I guess this is just what's going to happen now. There will be a Clayface Blizzard, it's like a car book or something. I don't know, but like I don't know, like the only real advertisement I saw for this movie was like some makeup crossover where they played a commercial like during the previews at like my Cinemark, and I was like, oh, that's right, Supergirl, okay. But yeah, I don't know.
No, dude, when Clayface comes out, Culver's needs to get that tie-in so they can do like a cookie dough thing, like a Clayface cookie dough,
Yeah.
like ice cream
well,
thing.
maybe they had like the I don't know what makeup company it was, if it was like icing or whatever, but they're probably like, hey, Clayface. Not exactly marketed to women, but
It's so weird that they had a makeup tie-in because they intentionally had a Supergirl who's like off on her own and is not very well put together and not paying any attention to what she looks like and isn't really wearing makeup. I just think that's really funny.
Hmm.
yeah, that is pretty
Like,
funny.
why is there a makeup tie-in? Your Supergirl could not care less about what she looks like.
Well, I don't know. Did Catwoman have a makeup tie-in, or was that too on the nose?
Dude, if Catwoman had a makeup tie-in, I'm gonna call that cynical and borderline evil, okay? Because the villain in that movie is turning people into Clayface. Like that villain is actually doing the Clayface thing.
Well, that would have been on brand because that movie is evil. Like that's like the worst movie I've ever seen.
I wanted to.
Sorry, Robert. Real
Sorry.
quick, we had a super chat about 19 years ago,
Mhm.
We had
and
two.
and there's another one. So let me
Okay.
hit those real quick. Senior $60 super chat. James Gunn's not mainstream. He didn't sell Superman. I don't know what that means. He didn't sell Superman.
I
I'd say
mean, that movie was
he's
profitable.
mainstream.
Is he saying he didn't sell it well, or you didn't do well because it
I-
was Gunn? I don't know what that means.
And the Guardians movies became pretty mainstream. Like
Like,
that.
I would
Those are
say
massive hits.
if I was to talk to like friends of mine who are like not really into movies but are generally aware of like pop culture, they know who James Gunn is because
Yeah.
like they loved Guardians of the Galaxy.
I
and
also
they
don't
were
know if that's
aware of
actually the
this
point
movie.
he's making.
Okay, that's true.
That's
I
just
don't wanna,
it's
yeah,
it's
put
a,
words
it's an
in.
ambiguous super chat. But if you're still watching, feel free to leave a regular comment and explain that to us.
We have another
people-
super chat from Siege 6 though.
Oh, we do.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll have you read in a minute. People, including Plush DX, are saying in the comments that Supergirl had a KFC meal, which I didn't know about.
That's true.
Oh, KFC. I go there all the time. Yeah, no.
Well, look, if it was Krispy Kreme, I would have known about it. Okay. Sorry, go ahead and read that other senior stick
That's
super
fair.
chat.
Yeah, $2 super chat from Senior
Am I gonna
Six.
understand this one?
Um,
Okay, go ahead and read it.
yeah, actually.
Okay, good. Good.
Guardians worked because it was obscure.
Well, I don't think it's fair to say this isn't working because people have heard of it. Or
Well, I'd also argue.
or is he
Supergirl's a
saying
legal
the
experiment.
direction we're taking? It's got to be a more mainstream direction with a mainstream character, where like it's too off the beaten path of a sort of story where people just want to see a typical like Supergirl's being altruistic and saving the day in the city kind of thing. Is that the point he's making?
Possibly.
I don't know. Like, I think most audience members probably just see Supergirl as like a costume
Yep.
for like girls to wear at Halloween if they want to wear something Superman themed. I don't think many people really understand or know the character or the heart of that character. So I would argue Supergirl is a little bit obscure. It's not like you're going with Wonder Woman or
Yeah.
even Catwoman. I feel like those like are like almost like archetypal female characters that you could build a movie around. Like Catwoman is just superhero femme fatale. Like that's a very kind of understandable thing to go with. So I don't know. Like I'd say this is kind of going into a direction that was a little risky.
If I'm selling a Supergirl movie and you could have done this exact same story and just made this more the way the flashbacks were handled, because I've got my reservations about how Supergirl like first arrives on Earth and everything. Again, I just feel like it's not exciting and dramatic enough. This is supposed to be a Supergirl that can't get over the destruction of her world and who still can't find her place and who's just kind of angry all the time. And the way she comes to Earth is she gets out of the pod and there's Superman to help her out and show her how everything works. In the New 52 books, she comes to Earth and through her eyes, the Earth looks completely alien to the reader. And she's freaking out and losing her mind about her world being gone, but being thrown into this confusing place. She's suddenly got all these powers. She doesn't know what to do with them. She can't breathe on the planet initially, and all of that. And imagine you handle her origin in this that way, and then that's the teaser trailer. Like, imagine your teaser for this movie is Supergirl. You get a pod, it crashes on Earth. It looks sort of like Superman's pod. You think Superman's going to come out. Supergirl comes out of it, and she's losing her freaking mind. And then what the New 52 book does is some bad guys come up on her, and she just takes out all of her anger and rage on whoever is around. And the contrast to Superman with that is palpable. And so, like, you're halfway there with this, but you don't get the visceral experience of how difficult her first days on Earth are. And I would have led with that.
That would have been cool. I think, as is, it's perfectly adequate in the movie. Where like you do have kind of the emotional devastation of like the death of Argo City, and so like coming to Earth has like a bit of a shell shock quality to it. I think that's fine, but I think like maybe with what you're talking about, it could have been a more effective hook for the audience.
Yeah, but why did she go right to next to the Fortress of Solitude? And you open up the spaceship, and then there's Superman, and he's acting stupid, and he's like, "Why am I talking louder? She doesn't know what I'm saying," and he just keeps talking for like 3 minutes.
I agree with you that it's not a wonderfully well written scene, but I also think it's supposed to just be nervous before it's stupid.
Sure, but why is that what we get for her coming to Earth? I think I do agree.
Well,
with you
the
there.
answer is they rushed scenes that they could shoot in a weekend, and just got them written out real quick. That's what it watches like. I'm not convinced you would have had as much origin flashback stuff if they hadn't decided to add more Corn Sweat just to try to get more people to see it. I'm convinced. I could be wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure that at one point, Corn Sweat was just supposed to be a cameo on a screen. Like, that scene at the beginning would have been all you got with him, and I think everything else is added at the 11th hour. I think that the scene in the Arctic and the very last scene of the movie, I don't think any of that was. I don't know how this movie ends without that, but I don't think any of that was there before.
Well, and I think Exhibit A for why this was done at the 11th hour is green screen compositing. Very obvious green screen compositing. But don't worry, it's also in the entire movie, so maybe it was a stylistic choice. That last scene reeks of her being like a reshoot. Like,
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I don't think anybody, when they're like conceiving of their movie, is, and then we end on this shot of Superman getting up and like is in the middle of walking out of his living room, and then we cut to cry. Like, I don't think anybody like
And Connor,
has
it
like that.
feels like it was.
Well, that's
written-
what you're left
it
with.
feel-
The last line of the movie is "Crypto-stat of the chocolate." What are we doing? And especially when you have that tragic of an ending. 5 minutes ago, again, full spoilers. 5 minutes ago, we saw Supergirl deliberately revenge kill very violently an unarmed man, and you ended your movie with Crypto-stat of the chocolate. I thought the satellite thing in Man of Steel was bad.
Jason, you were going to say something?
Sorry, go ahead.
It feels like someone. It feels like it was written by someone who didn't read the rest of the script. That last scene.
It does feel like a studio note of
It does.
it's a very grim thing. We need to have him walking out of the auditorium feeling good, and so having a scene like a funny scene with Superman will be heartwarming and make you laugh, and then you'll feel good. Yeah,
It's just
So, like,
manufactured. You could have ended the movie even with the shocking kill we get at the end on a more positive note, but it needs to be both somber and positive. The only, and we'll talk about the ending, but real quick, I'll just say the closest I could have been to being won over on it would be a very tender, it didn't have to go on very long, but a very tender, somber scene of Supergirl confessing to Superman that she did that. And basically saying, I'm back on Earth and have decided this is my home because I don't like what I've become and I need you. And I need Superman's influence to be the person I want to be because I feel too far gone and I'm capable of the thing I just did. And you wouldn't have even had to have a lengthy scene of her saying that. She could really just sit down next to him and you establish that they're going to be roommates now and have her say, I just did something and cut the credits. I mean, like that's really all you need, and I would have liked
I
it
would
a
have been,
lot more.
I would have been able to like untangle the kind of knot I have in my head with her decision
Yes,
better if they resolved it that way.
yeah,
Ren Davis also says, "Would chocolate even affect crypto?" And I had the exact same thought in
I
the
don't know.
theater. Also, you're talking about being somber, but also uh, what was it like
Positive, heartwarming.
positive? Um, man, at the end of a revenge movie, what are you describing? Furiosa? Like, because the ending of that movie does do that, where vengeance is had, and because it's a revenge movie, you're like, yeah, there's like a catharsis to it, and it's similar to this, like kind of grappling with the idea of morality in a revenge movie, which I don't know, like I get why people want to do that, but I think like there is something that is like interesting about audiences where like when we go to a revenge movie, we just want to see people get revenge. There's something like kind of like
But also with this movie, there's nothing that like before that happens that leads you to believe that she would even be capable of doing
Which
that.
is the
I,
reason I'm and
which I
I know I'm doing the rewriting thing to some degree, but there's really good precedent with source material to more effectively accomplish what I think they're trying to accomplish, which is why I'm suggesting these things. So I'm not saying I want her to be a completely different character. I'm saying I want them to make me buy that she would do that. And part of the way you could do that is by giving me a very visceral scene when she first shows up on Earth about how angry she is and freaking out on people. Because I get that she's lethargic and sad and upset that she's lost her planet. How does that translate to revenge, though? Do you see what I'm
Yeah, I
saying?
don't know. I agree. I do because it's like she sees herself in Ruthie, but it's like I understand like the kind of emotional space is similar, but as it progresses, the specificity of where they're coming from is different,
Mm-hmm.
and that's never really reckoned with. It is kind of treated as the same thing. I agree with you, Cap. It is
I
an
also just
odd.
need a better like argument between them, like a better like conversation because like they do talk about the revenge thing, but not as much as I'd like. Like I want them to have an argument like the Clark Lois argument in James Gunn Superman.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, that would have been great. Um, just to quickly put a bow on the point I was making, when you watch Kill Bill, you're just happy to see Uma Thurman chop fools up. It's great.
Mhm.
You feel good about it. You don't feel guilty about it because you're there to watch a revenge movie. And this movie is almost like the apex, like the pinnacle of you watch Supergirl and Ruthie, and you do see Ruthie kill somebody, and then at the end it's like, no, we can't do it. Like what have we been doing this whole time? Like, give me a break.
Well, and
Like,
the thing is,
really, we're gonna
no,
do this? We have to save your purity. I watched her kill a dude in the jail cell. Like, and
I forgot
Lobo
about
was
that.
like, "My
That's true.
man!" Like, come on.
Well, and there's little weird inconsistencies like that. I don't want to get too back off the beaten path because I want to get back to that ending. But you've got things like Lobo saying revenge is boring and I'm not interested in that, and then Ruthie kills that guy and he's like, "Yeah, revenge." I don't really understand that. But yeah, Connor, the problem with what you're talking about is I don't want a cathartic revenge thriller out of Supergirl.
I get that. I get that.
You know?
I
So
get
like
that.
the Tom King book is not a revenge thriller. Like that's not what it is.
The whole
It's
thing
about a
is
girl who wants revenge and Supergirl trying to set her on the right path. And the ultimate, again, spoilers for that book. The ultimate tragedy of the book is no matter how much time passes, Ruthie's not going to get over it, and Supergirl cannot say the right thing to stop her from doing that. And in the book, it's Ruthie who kills him. And after he's spent decades in the Phantom Zone and has completely been rehabilitated, and and Supergirl's very proud of him. And a 95-year-old Ruthie says, "Yeah, but I don't care," and stabs him anyway. And yeah, what's up?
Okay, that's technically not true, but it's a very misunderstood ending.
What's not true?
Because I was also confused when I read it. So Ruthie doesn't kill him; she just hits him on the head, which just shows that she hasn't forgiven him, but she's not going to kill him. No, she just hits him on the head with a cane. It's very poorly communicated.
I'm sure we
in the
talked
art.
about this in that review, and I'm not remembering.
You did.
But, okay.
And in the review, you guys landed on, oh yeah, she doesn't kill him.
Oh,
which.
Right.
According to like the official synopsis online and everything, like everything official I've seen is that no, Ruthie doesn't kill him. She just hits him and he's left alive alone at the end. However, according to the screenwriter of this movie, from I think an interview in the Hollywood Reporter, she said what you just said 5 minutes ago about the comic's really dark and
decided
she read. Yes, because she's like, yeah, the comic ends really dark, where even after all this time, Ruthie kills him. So the screenwriter of this movie adapting it believes.
Did you think
that Ruthie kills him at the end
in the comic?
I did not. I missed it, I
was confused the first when I
thought I just missed something at the end. And
Okay.
But I didn't even get the hitting on the head.
Thanks for setting me straight on that. That's an unfortunate panel. Because even after reviewing it, I read it wrong.
Mm-hmm. Well, you guys landed on it right 3 years ago, but then
3 years ago.
Well, I didn't talk it out again. Okay, so
yeah.
So let me ask you guys. Let's get to the Supergirl revenge kill at the end of this, and I just want to go kind of round robin and ask you guys, not just were you okay with that as a choice, but also, is it just fundamentally a thing that we shouldn't do with this particular character? Like, can you be okay moving forward with a Supergirl that has done that? Is my question.
Yes, as long as your 2 scenes after that are not crypto humor.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what you're doing.
No, like it felt like a super villain origin by the time I got to the end of it, where she does that, she has no seeming regret for it, and then she's like, let's drink, party, and then like she goes to like hang out with Superman. It's like, okay, I'm ready to come home now. It's like it felt like a there and back again adventure where she's like, I learned something about myself and I'm me now. And I'm like,
yeah.
What?
Well, the way the screenwriter talked about it, it's like she goes through this adventure to learn how to be a hero, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, she just murders a man at the end, and now she's a hero. And so here's the thing. I want to read that last scene as, again, she's going to Superman to get the influence she needs to be a better person. And I had a conversation with Austin about this, and that's how he read that scene in the theater. I took 20 minutes thinking about it to come up with that and felt like I was reaching. I don't actually think that's in the movie. I think that's me trying to make it work.
What is, sorry?
What
is not in the movie? Or
just the idea that the reason she comes home to Earth is to be kind of rehabilitated by Superman.
Yeah.
I don't think that's in that scene. That's what I want it to be.
Yeah, like the way the scene is written, that final scene with her and Superman, like I like it's like she, like what she says, what I recall is something like, yeah, Earth is my home now, and I'm like, okay, well, that's not what the movie was about. Yeah.
So, it needs to watch like a Catholic confessional, where Superman is the confessor priest.
And like we know she's gonna be in Man of Tomorrow. Like I'm not because again these are different characters, so I'm not personally as like against the idea of like a Superman who doesn't kill, but a Supergirl who does, and the conflict that could come from that later. But I can't give this movie credit for what later movies may or may not do. We are right back to where we were with Man of Steel, which is really unfortunate. Where I like you being on the fence about it, I'm not being sure how to feel about Superman killing Zod or not, but I just wanted him to talk about it, and then we never talk about it. And even in BVS, where I know BVS is all about the collateral damage and all the people who died in Metropolis, but BVS is not about Superman killing Zod.
But here's the thing.
Even if you could, we never talk about it.
In its way, it's actually almost worse than the Man of Steel thing. I'm sorry to say, because that scene is ultra contrived. Where I don't buy that Superman had to kill Zod the way he did, but just give them the mulligan, I can't do it, but like suspend your disbelief enough to say something, it was necessary or these people would die. This was a revenge kill of an unarmed man, and I don't know how the movie feels about it, and it's PG-13. Like, at the very least, and this is going to sound like a weird point, and I'm not saying that there's anything in this movie that I, like, violence-wise or whatever, that would get it here. It needs to be a rated R film if your Supergirl is going to be that unheroic at the end, because I don't like... Now, nobody's seeing this, so I guess it's not a problem, but I don't like the idea that any children go to a movie like this wanting a heroic Supergirl, and your ending is she revenge kills an unarmed man, and then the movie has like an upbeat ending, like she's a hero now. Like, at the very best, it's got to talk about it, and even then... I almost need... Not everybody's going to agree with this. Austin's going to roll his eyes when I say this, but like I need it almost telegraphed that this is not going to actually be a superhero arc, if that's what you're doing.
Yes, and this is... And so the only way that it would work for me, the revenge plot, is you need to talk about it after. And she needs to be capable of doing that before we get there, because she just pulls it out of nowhere. And there's nothing, like, she's been talking the whole movie about how revenge is not...
Well, I think it's supposed to be this kind of twist where it hasn't been about revenge is bad. It's about she doesn't want this girl to do that and ruin her life. But she sees herself as too far gone, and that's something she's capable of.
Yeah, but there's nothing, even in her performance as Supergirl being like...
You need her to be more dead inside?
Yeah, I need the girl to leave, and she's like thinking about it. Like,
okay, Connor, what are you going to say?
I don't know.
Well, so... Einstein Jet just put in a $5 super chat. I think it really kind of relates to, I think, the kind of crux of this. He says, I wonder if Kara has killed someone before.
Sure.
Since she makes a point that you can't come back from that. It seems like that is the case, but all of the stuff we get about her backstory relates to Krypton, which is kind of related to what we were talking about a few minutes ago. It feels like there is like something in Kara's past that is relevant to this story that is not in this story. And it does seem that like that's the case. The issue that I have with like the ending is that her parents tell her, you have to be good. You don't have to be nice. You don't, that doesn't mean you don't have to be tough, but you got to be good. And so it's like,
and then Superman echoes that when she lands on Earth.
Yes. And so this movie's stance, the way I'm reading it, seems to be like, I'm going to stab you for hurting my dog, but this is what you did about that girl. And it's like, we get the echoes, because this is edited like this movie is, they replay those lines of dialogue for us. And then it's like, okay, then she stabs him in the head. And it's like, this is her being tough. She's not being nice, but she is being good.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there going,
no,
I don't think I agree with this.
Actually,
this
no.
is like what
Actually, no.
It bothers me if they're saying that's heroic. Like,
but that's how it feels really easy to read that, because immediately after, We're going
then
partying.
it's
We're
also-
getting drinks.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go hang out with
But
Superman.
then it's
I'm ready to
also-
come home. Like,
But it's talking out of both
whoa.
sides of its face if that's the case, because if she thinks that's justice and the proper thing to do, then why is she trying to make sure that her friend avoids doing that? Like, the only way I can
Exactly,
read that is
exactly.
that she'll take a pass and fall on her sword and do that herself to kind of make a sacrifice for her friend, because she's already too far gone. Like, she either has that in her, or, like you said, has killed someone before, and is like, this is wrong, but I think it's necessary, or I just, hate this guy so much for what he's done to us that, like, I will succumb to that, but it's bad.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like, all of that kind of complicated, like, this is why not knowing if Kara has killed before, I do think, like, it does, like, complicate this in a not very good way. Like, it's more confused than it is, like, morally complicated, and makes you want to, like, contemplate it. But to go back, you guys are talking about Superman, Woman of Tomorrow. I guess I'm gonna just keep talking about Furiosa, because that's what I meant by, like, that movie's world building justifies its characters' actions. That's a fallen world. Everyone's killing each other. So, like, revenge feels justified in that movie. And, like, in this movie, like, it does feel like everything that I feel like is being communicated about this character and the world she inhabits and what her aspirations are, this just doesn't really feel like the proper payoff for it.
It feels like what the movie is going for is like, this is an anti-hero becoming a hero, but that's not what they made.
Mm-mm. Again, unless she feels like really bad about it at the end, where like she could simultaneously make that conscious choice and then go, yeah, I'm done with this gallivanting around space thing. I don't like what it's turned me into.
It's also tough because we live in a world where Iron Man kicks off the MCU. It also sets more of a precedent of a superhero who kills people, and the vast majority of the heroes in the MCU kill people. So we're used to that in PG-13 superhero movies out.
But there's a huge difference between killing someone in the heat of battle, war type situation, and stabbing an unarmed man while he's lying there and he can't defend himself. I don't care how horrible he is. Yep. You're doing that out of like selfish and almost a sadistic kind of glee.
Mm-hmm.
I think
and in the right context, an audience can find that really cathartic. But you told me this was a superhero movie, so I need to know if it is or it isn't. And I'm really glad, that they changed the name and they didn't put Woman of Tomorrow on it, because that complicates this massively. Like, if I can't tell how to read it at the end, and you're saying she's the Woman of Tomorrow, she's got all the right ideas for the future.
I actually think I've changed my mind. I actually don't think they would have been able to win me over on it. Because of all the points that you guys have been saying, and also, you're gonna make a Supergirl movie, and make your Supergirl John Wick. I don't know about that.
Oh, you killed the guy over your dog?
Yeah.
At least it wasn't with a pencil.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what else? You know what else this reminded me of? Batman Forever.
Oh, of course, everything reminds you of Batman Forever.
Everything reminds you of Batman Forever. That is a movie where Robin wants to kill to get revenge, and the whole movie, Batman is telling him, no, don't do that. It won't be good for you. It won't fix your problems. And then Batman just kind of takes care of the problem for him and gets Two-Face killed at the end. So he gets to have his cake and eat it too, where Robin doesn't have to kill Two-Face, but he still gets the catharsis
at least
of the
Batman
revenge.
has plausible deniability. He doesn't go, this is for Robin's dad. This is for Robin's brothers.
Yeah.
And not just that, but also we know that Batman did kill the guy who killed his parents. They have a conversation about it where he's like, no, you think killing the person will fix it. And with Supergirl, we don't know if she's killed anyone yet or not.
This is for me having to give away one of my motorcycles?
Hey, speaking of motorcycles, What did you guys think of Lobo?
Hey, before we get to Lobo,
thought he
can
was
I
fine.
read a couple comments real quick? Because I don't want to get too
Yes,
far
go
away
ahead.
from them, and then don't let me get too far off track. We'll get to Lobo. Von Kelling, John Von Kelling. I like this point. And I wanted to read it real quick. Supergirl had a multi-season television show that essentially just made her female Superman by making her a beacon of hope and truth. Supergirl is not only obscure, any general audience's knowledge is not what the actual character is in the comics. And so when I was hearing a lot of backlash with this, I was like, okay, the movie could just not be very good, or she could be massively misunderstood because of expectation. And it is a bit of both, but the revenge kill doesn't help.
Yeah.
I'm also blaming the Supergirl TV show to some degree. For that,
Cyborg Superman.
because not that it couldn't do a more traditional Supergirl, because at one time she was more that way, and I prefer the New 52 version, but like there is a more classic Kara that is maybe a little bit more morally ambiguous than Superman, but doesn't have all the baggage and hangups that the modern version does. But I said when that show was first announced all those years ago in an old Captain's log that they should have the guts to, in that universe, just introduce Supergirl as their Superman and not have Superman at all, so that she doesn't just feel like a knockoff of him, and that would have solved part of this problem if they had done that, because then everybody would go, well, I don't know what she's actually like in the comics, but they couldn't do Superman, so they did Supergirl instead. I still say they should have done that all those years ago, but anyway.
This is in no way relevant to what we've been talking about for the past hour. I just wanted to mention something before I forget. So back to the beginning, when Crib kills Ruthie's family, because Connor, you were making a lot of the Western comparisons. Connor, I assume you've seen The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Remember the opening of that when the bad guy is in the family's house and is eating food and it's like really tense, and then kills. It's like, yeah, this is the bad version of that scene. It's like you could play both of those scenes in film school together and be like, okay, why does this scene have suspense and work, and why does this one not? Yeah, well, that's later when he's in Ruthie's home. He eats the pie.
Oh,
yeah,
they did it
is
that pie?
Yeah,
and there is
I did like
that pie looked disgusting, by the way. And there's a scene like that in Logan too.
Yeah.
Well,
we go back to that a lot because The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
my brother was like mentioning this whole thing. It was like, what they could have done is they could have done this thing where maybe, and then he was like halfway through describing it. Oh, but they wouldn't do that because that would just be Logan at that point.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like this, because like the thing is, like Shane is a movie that I recently just saw Shane for the first time. That's a Western that is kind of about like violence in the Western.
Well, Logan's looking at that
movie.
real hard. And
it is, yeah. And but it's also tied into True Grit, which is also about vengeance in the Old West and violence, and so it's like this is a very kind of common territory to approach. And so I guess like I guess my hottest take for this movie in defending it is I would bet you if any of us read the script for this movie, we would think it was a good script. Because I think so when you're reading it, it probably, like, here's what's weird about movies is that like we all watch it, we can all interpret it, but it's different than if we all read the same script, because if we're all reading the same script, we're going to interpret it differently. We're kind of looking for the things that we're liking in it, and we're picking up on it. Like, so in each of the little episodes, I was picking up on little thematic through lines where I'm like, that's not really getting brought to the surface, but it's there. And I'm like, I imagine this reads probably really breezy, and one adventure probably goes into the next when you're reading it really elegantly. And it's just one of those things where just because of how many hands and like how many people get involved, and I just think it just wound up not being very effective. And I feel a little bad for the screenwriter because the script is getting a lashing from like reviews regarding this movie.
But I still think if I'm just reading the script, I'd go, I don't know about this revenge kill thing.
Yeah.
At the very least, like I said earlier with the editing, at the very least, I feel like stuff is missing.
Yeah.
With the final cut we got. For example, and like I mentioned up top, I don't care if this sticks super closely to the comic or if it goes its own way. What matters is that central relationship between Supergirl and Ruthie. That is the
Yeah.
thing that matters most to get right, and I don't think they did. I think it really falls flat and doesn't come together. But and again, correct me if I'm wrong. This could just be hearsay, but I think I heard there was an interview with Millie Alcock somewhere talking about like a scene that was cut. There was a great moment early on in the comic where she's washing Ruthie's hands, and it's like a really intimate bonding moment. And I heard somewhere that there's an interview with Millie Alcock talking about that they shot that scene, and it's not in the movie. And it's like the movie's missing those intimate bonding moments, you know?
But
And like Jayson said, with like the arguments they have, it's like those we need more of, like need to be longer, like the Superman and Lois argument in that movie.
But I think like some of that might just be down to acting and directing. Like I think that like Millie Alcock, when I'm looking at this movie, I can tell that she is a talented actress. My issue is I was just looking at her the whole time. I was seeing an actor who was talented reciting dialogue in a way. Like if this was a screen test or an audition, I'd go, "We did it. We found her Supergirl." But it doesn't feel like I'm watching the character in the movie. And I think she's not like my brother said this, and I completely agree with him, is that she's not a skilled enough actress to elevate her scene partner. And I think the girl who's playing Ruthie is doing her best, but I'm also just never convinced of her character. I'm seeing a young woman trying hard to give a good performance. And so and then Lobo shows up, and Jason Momoa just looks like a guy who's in really good cosplay.
Yeah.
I just never believed that was Lobo.
So I completely agree with what you're saying when it comes to Lobo. I will disagree with you on Supergirl. I think her performance is more convincing than that. We can just agree to disagree. I get why you're saying that, but I had a good first impression with her. Like I latched onto her from the beginning. It's more that way later, but I had a lot of goodwill with her. Lobo is a screen test. They don't have a take on him. Momoa is. I still agree with everyone that he's the right person for that role, but he doesn't have anything to work with, and he doesn't know how to bring anything to it outside of the script. So, he's trying to, and I also feel like he's looking at the script going, they gave me nothing to do, but I still want to act, so I'm going to act anyway. So, in scenes, for no good reason, he will flip on a dime between brooding with like pathos steaming off his back for some reason. Like I'm deep and things have happened to me, and then like you snap and on a light switch, he's like jovial and having fun and being like crazy murderous Lobo man, and I'm like, why did he change so quickly in the middle of the scene? It was like for no reason at all, except Momoa wants to get to act, and they're not letting him.
What's also awkward about his inclusion is like in a normal movie with that type of character, he'd be like an obstacle in our hero's way. That like maybe they'd have to fight and then team up against a common enemy at the end. You know, that trope. Yeah. But we don't do that. It's like, well, she's after a guy, and he's after a guy who works with that guy. So, like, they just kind of run into each other a couple times, and then he saves her at the end for some reason, and then goes. It's very strange.
You know what they could have done?
Uh-oh. Here it comes.
Is they could have been after the same guy. Oh, but that's True Grit. That was True Grit. My bad.
So,
I got it.
But alternately, Connor, the other way you do it, and you'll probably think of some other movie that they're already looking at where this is too much like it. But alternately, remember, it's a quest movie, and if you're telling a quest story, it's not always a bad idea to just look at how RPGs do it. So you've got two people that have come together in a party. Ruthie has joined your party, and then you get halfway into the movie and you go into a bar and you see Lobo, and Supergirl might like begrudgingly ask him for help because she's like, he doesn't play well with others and he kills people and I don't know. But he's got a really helpful motorcycle and he's super strong and he's got a chain that can be as long as or as short as you need it to be. We could really use this guy's help. And they walk up to him and he's like, no, I'm busy. I gotta go kill this guy. And you're like, well, what do you have to kill him? Thursday. Well, it's Monday. I mean, you've got time. Okay. I guess I'll come help you out. And then Lobo has joined your party. Why didn't you do it like that? Then it wouldn't feel convenient that you ran into him. It'd just be, we found Lobo. Yeah. He's not doing anything. He's just drinking. Let's add him to our. So I don't know. That would have been a way to do it.
That would have been a way to do it. You know what? If we're ripping off movies, why don't we just rip off for a few dollars more and have them like try to infiltrate the brigand gang together and be like, hey, why don't we infiltrate them, pretend like we're on their side, but really we're trying to get them. Like, I don't know.
And I still say it's probably better if you just replace Krem with Lobo and just tell a slightly different story.
Yeah, make him the bad guy. And then you don't have to kill him at the end. You're going to bring him back. He's got some beef. To relate it back to True Grit, some la beef with Supergirl.
We have a super chat.
Yeah.
From John Ty.
I was gonna get to that later.
Okay.
Let's make sure that we're done talking about Lobo first.
Yeah.
Because we finally got to Lobo, and Connor might have had more things to say about Lobo.
I just had one more thing to say about Lobo, which is he's got an accent that disappears halfway through his screen time.
Yep. It was all over the trailer, and I was like, why is he doing an accent? And then when we got into the third act, I'm like, wait, he's not doing it anymore.
Yeah, see, I think, I want to see Jayson Momoa. I like Jayson Momoa. I think he's a very entertaining screen presence. But kind of going back to my acting thing, I don't think he's this is a very high-level acting thing to do. So it's not a lot of actors can do this. But what he should have been able, or not do, what I would have liked him to have been able to do is if he looked at the script, was like, there's nothing really here, but I've got a take on this character, and I'm really going to command these scenes around my take on the character. That's a pretty difficult thing to do, and I don't think Jayson Momoa, he's a very entertaining guy, but I don't think he's exactly a skilled thespian. And so, like you said, Cap, he does kind of just show up and have a good time, and I don't know, he looked like he was having a good time. He's not bad in the movie, but it does feel just kind of a weird feature of the movie that, oh yeah, I guess Lobo's in this. He doesn't really seem to, his character doesn't add a perspective to the story.
Oh my god, you know what he is? No, sorry, I just had this thought. You know what he is? He's Michael Keaton's Batman in The Flash.
Oh my god!
That's what he is.
Yeah.
It's we get there, and it's you roll a d20, who's going to show up? I guess it's what? The difference is, it made no goddamn sense that was Michael Keaton's Batman. I don't even know why he's in that friggin' universe. Lobo is at least a character that if you're galaxy hopping, if you're doing the cosmic stuff, yeah, he shows up in random places. Lobo is a Superman character a lot. He's in the animated series. We kind of introduce him that way in that show, where he's just out at a bar, killing people. So he's at least not a random choice. And again, apparently Tom King almost put him in his book. But the way they introduce him in the movie, it feels like that.
Yep.
And it's almost the exact same place in the film.
And he's in one of the best movies of all time, Superman: Man of Tomorrow.
Yes, which is legitimately great.
Yep.
Yeah, I like, I don't know, him showing up halfway through the movie to maybe either be an obstacle or an ally or the villain or whatever. But I kind of was expecting him to at least contribute to the story, because the where you put him in is feels like the right place to kind of add an extra kernel to your story.
Yeah,
but I don't know, he doesn't really do much.
Well, the part of the mistake for me, okay, there's two big problems. I'm glad we're still talking about Lobo, because I want to make sure I said this. I think there's two big problems with his introduction. The first is there's not enough like what's the word I'm looking for? Like pizzazz and uh character in yeah man it's Lobo, like I don't think we introduced Kara herself in a dramatic and exciting enough way. I get what they're going for with that. I just think like having her being in the background in a bar and then suddenly oh man it's Kara, like that would have been the way to do that. With Lobo we get halfway there where like you see his legs and he's like walking in, or I can't remember if he's sitting or what, but like we build up to it a little bit, but you don't have like a like a rock sting in the soundtrack or anything, and like with all the needle drops, and I'd rather him just kind of have his own guitar riff, but with all the needle drops, I'm shocked that we're not like, oh man, it's Lobo, like it should have been something like that. And then in the third act, he gets a big fight scene where we finally kind of give him that, and I'm like, no, that's how you introduce him, though. And the second thing is, we're finally getting Lobo in a movie. There are people. It might only be like 8 of them, but there are people that have been waiting for this moment for years and years, okay? Especially if they grew up in the 90s. And they're like, oh man, when are we finally going to get the Lobo movie? Lobo shows up. And this is so lame to me if you're a Lobo fan. Now, I'm not, but if you're a Lobo fan, how lame is it? You wanted Lobo for 20 years. You finally got Jayson Momoa. Some of these people, like probably 5 of them, wanted Jayson Momoa really bad. And then, I'm kidding, people really want that.
5 is most if you're going by 8. So
the man is kidnapped and thrown in a jail cell in the first 10 minutes he's on screen. How freaking lame is that?
And he doesn't call himself the main man once.
Yeah.
He's just
You're only 50. You got Bastich, but not main man, so you get an F because those are his 2 things, and you didn't. And this movie's not doing well, so I don't know if we'll ever see him again. So like you gotta have all the Lobo stuff. There's not that much. You got his bike.
I got a question about Lobo in comic books. I'm not a Lobo guy at all. Does he wear like face paint? Is that what the black around his eyes is in the comics or anything?
Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't sure.
But I'm sorry to say, I think his look in the Krypton TV show is more comic book accurate.
Oh, I gotta finally watch that.
I think he actually, and honestly, I like that guy's performance a lot. That show is nuts and not good, but their Lobo is pretty freaking good. And I actually think he's better than what we had here.
Noted. I should
now,
look
I would call this a hot take if anybody saw Krypton. Because to my 8 people care about seeing Lobo in this, one person saw Krypton.
Half a person.
Yeah, exactly. And it was me. And I didn't like it very much. Do you want to read a super chat?
Sure. Well, first,
unless I'm stepping on anybody, more people want to talk about Lobo. You love Lobo.
Well, first I'll read. Yeah, I thought he was alright.
No, I just mean the character. I just like you're a big Lobo
no,
guy.
but that's why I'm saying I thought Jayson Momoa was alright. I really liked his performance. I just thought he was not there enough. $5 from Einstein Jet.
Thanks, man.
Lobo had no reason to be here, but he was my favorite character in the movie. Jayson Momoa was so fun to watch.
That's totally fair. What was that other super chat that we were gonna?
John Ty, $2. How did you guys feel about the Krypton stuff?
Oh boy. Okay, I actually want to leave it because I think I have a hot take that no one else is going to agree with.
Say again.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead and say that, and then we'll see if Jayson has any final thoughts because it's getting late and he's got to go to bed. Yeah. So.
Oh, for sure. So, I'll say I was very mixed on the decision to do all of that stuff in the fake Kryptonian language and not like do a Hunt for Red October where we transition to them speaking English for the audience. Like,
I had that too.
I respect the commitment to it, and I think the actors, particularly David Krumholtz, my beloved, who really commits to it and I think does a good job in spite of it. But ultimately, I don't think that was the right call, and I feel more justified in complaining about it because I don't think the movie's consistent about how alien language works.
No.
Because I think there's translators sometimes, and then I think there's a throwaway line about somewhere about like the common tongue, whatever that means. So like
they do the Star Wars thing, but it's like, okay, then she's not speaking
But
English
it's-
the entire movie. But then when she goes to Superman, she is speaking English.
I'm so confused when you have like when Ruthie and her are speaking English. I'm like, okay, is the audience just hearing English and they're speaking another language, or are they literally speaking English? I have no idea. I think the movie is just really inconsistent about how alien language works.
Yeah, and it feels really
and I don't know,
arbitrary.
again-
Like, why is the Kryptonian all in Krypton?
Which is cool because it was set up in Superman, but again, I would have just done the Hunt for an October thing where you
Yeah.
start with them speaking it and then you just transition to them speaking English so you can get, I think, better performances from it. So, oh well. That's my opinion on
Yeah,
that.
I think the Kryptonian stuff added nothing, and it did not need to be there. And if it was there, it should not have been there that long. It just took too long for me, and that was the point where I got bored.
I don't have that. I just
I
don't
have
know
that.
how to feel about their take on it.
Yeah,
Is
but I
basically-
didn't like the take either, but
I mean, well, okay, but that's some of my favorite stuff in the comic, and I'm glad it's in the movie. I just don't think it was executed that well. So, like, I wouldn't have cut that stuff. I think that's really important for a character, like seeing her mom die. And to disagree with Jason, who hates this take on Crypto, I think having her find Crypto after the death of her mom, like, is a really good choice, and having him
that's fair.
in the pod with her.
Yep.
And the one, like, save the cat, or in this case, save the dog trope that, like, almost works is just expanding on, like, no, Crypto, like, is all she has left of her
Yeah,
family. And that's why she cares so much about that dog. Like, that is an expansion on the comic that I think works. That is consistent, of course, with what we saw in the Superman movie. So all that stuff for me is fine. But yeah, the Krypton stuff, I was very mixed. I'm glad it's there. I was just mixed on how it was executed.
The Krypton stuff I completely forgot about when we were opening up this review. That's my best thing. It's the best part of the movie. It's the one part
Okay.
of the movie that I feel like had a vision behind it. It felt like a little short film that I actually got. I could understand the emotional stakes of, and I thought it was communicated effectively enough. And I think I don't know. I personally really like the commitment to just having them all speak Kryptonian. I'm like, this is weird, right? Like, I'm in a pretty full theater, and people are like seriously listening to David Krumholtz talk to his daughter as he's dying of like radiation sickness in a language that doesn't actually exist. Like, I kind of dig that stuff.
Well, it's
a lot of the
classic
production
sci-fi
elements-
Hollywood. It's like when you go to Vulcan in motion picture, and you have to listen to the Vulcan speaking Vulcan. You know.
Yeah, and I don't know. Like, I thought it was the most effective stuff in the movie. So
Yeah.
it's a little like irrelevant to kind of like the resolution and like where Kara kind of goes at the end, especially since maybe her killing somebody in the past maybe was the proper backstory for this story, but as its own little bottle story, I thought it was the best part of the movie.
I do think, structurally speaking, this movie handles flashbacks really poorly, and I don't think they were ever sure about where and when to place that stuff. Like, compared to this to something like Batman Begins, which I think really elegantly tells a non-linear story and knows when to do which flashbacks where and how they build on each other throughout the movie. Here, it's like damned if you do, damned if you don't with what they made. It's like you could front load the movie with all that stuff, but that's not going to work. Like that's a bad call. Or you do it in flashbacks. Like I don't know what the right call
Well,
is
and
here.
see,
It just
that's another thing it has in common with Man of Steel. Although Man of Steel is
I
much
was
worse
just
about
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Jason, real quick.
Yeah.
Anything else you wanted to bring up? Because I know you're trying to
yeah.
go to bed.
Yeah. No, I mean, I feel like I brought up most of my stuff. Yeah, with the flashback stuff, I honestly got bored with it. I think it maybe was the Kryptonian language. I don't know. I'm also not a big Krypton guy.
Look, it wasn't like Klingon in Star Trek Discovery, okay?
Sure, I haven't seen
Takufma!
I haven't-
Shut
I
up!
haven't seen that, so but I know you're a big like Krypton guy in general, and I'm just not.
That's fair.
So-
Nobody cares about Krypton but me.
So I don't really care either way about their take, except that the way that they handle Jor-El is really weird.
Yeah, that's what I want to talk about.
Okay, yeah,
But
segue. Like,
Feel free to
I'm
go to
gonna
bed.
go.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, everybody say bye
Okay.
to Jason.
By
Let's
Jayson.
talk about how
Yeah.
that's weird.
This feels like this was so Cat, like I don't think this is even tinfoil hat theory. It's like people saw Superman, the James Gunn's movie, and a lot of us thought like, oh, there's probably more to that backstory with Jor-El. There's probably a twist later,
Nope.
something that I expand on. Nope. So very late into production of this movie, it's like, oh no, we need to double down on that and confirm to the audience that that's all what we're doing.
Yeah.
And we open it with like, and again, this does start, and I do half agree with Connor that some of my favorite stuff in the movie was the Krypton flashbacks, but it starts with some really horrible exposition where these people are running for their lives and they see Kal-El's ship, and his wife is like, "Isn't that Kal-El, the son of your brother who thinks he's going to be a god conqueror on another planet?" I'm like, oh god, it's so bad.
That's true.
It is.
And it opens so many questions where it's like, this is the wife of Jor-El's brother. Like, does she not know Jor-El personally? Does she not met that? What is this family dynamic? Like, it opens so many questions while trying to answer some, and it's just horrible.
What are the
exposition.
general sensibilities of everyday people and or even the big leaders, the politicians of the planet? Like, tell me what the prevailing ideologies are. We don't do that kind of world building, and I needed it. And I was, if you were going to do flashbacks with this to Krypton, and we knew they were going to, I was expecting us to open the curtain with that a bit so that I would get at least some context as to why Jor-El and Laura send Kal-El to conquer, and they do kind of the Smallville thing. I didn't think that they would reverse it or that it would all be a big misunderstanding. And Gunn has come out and said it's not going to be a misunderstanding. That's really what they meant. The harem stuff and all of that, like it's all real. But I expected somehow some discussion about it so that I could see another side to it and kind of understand at least some alien perspective. And so what I thought it would end up being is just Krypton was Rome, and it fell. And, like, they're a conquering people. Like, that's just what they do. And to them, there's no moral issue with this. We were conquerors, and we had an empire. And something about our empire, we had hubris, we played God, we went too close to the sun, almost literally, and we blew up our planet over it. And instead, it plays it like Jor-El is Zod. And I don't understand. And so like, Jor-El, I guess, is just a crazy man that wants to conquer planets. And it's one of two things. Either Jor-El has these delusions of grandeur and is like, well, I'm gonna die, but by God, at least my lineage can go off and rule a planet. Or that actually is the prevailing way that people think on Krypton, and Zor-El is the outsider, and he's the cool altruistic guy. And either way, I just don't know how to feel about Jor-El being thrown into the bus, and Zor-El is like the as far as we know, could be at least for men, like his wife is with him, I guess, but like he's like the only good guy on Krypton. Why are we playing it like that? Zor-El half the time is evil. Like in other things. Zor-El in New 52 is Cyborg Superman. I don't know if you guys know that. And like I don't like on principle have a problem with Zor-El is good, but why are we throwing Jor-El under the bus to make Zor-El I don't understand it.
Yeah, well, because the stuff with him and Kara is some of my favorite stuff in the comic, and like you get some of that emotion in the movie. And like I appreciated that, but yeah, just the Jor-El take. Like I'm fine with the darker Jor-El. It's just not my preferred take. But this just kind of doubles that. Like, and I complained about this in our Superman review. Like everything in the message about like we want you to repopulate and all that stuff, and you know the sinister implications of that. Like you could on some level see where Jor-El maybe is coming from, like you were just saying. The only line I didn't like in that message was the last one, which ends on rule without mercy. And my complaint with that line was that it doesn't match the tone of the rest of the message. So like that's a complaint I've had since that movie come out. It's like, no, again, I can roll with the darker more messed up Jor-El, any more messed up Kryptonian culture. So like
And that's
everything in that
message.
message.
Like John Ty mentioned in the comments
Yes.
that we're doing that in My Adventures with Superman, but in a way more thoughtful kind of way. Like this feels, I'm sorry to say, just kind of edgy for the sake of being edgy. The way it's handled in
Yeah.
Superman.
Like I said, everything about that message works for me, except like the literal last line of "rule without mercy," where I'm like, that the tone of that doesn't even match the rest of the message. And then
Yeah.
that's the part we kind of double down on this week. So the way this movie presents it, it's like Jor-El's just the crazy evil one.
Well, and
like it
Obsidian-
plays it like he's the outlier.
To be fair, so we got a comment from Obsidian, and he says, "How are they conquerors? They would have ships to get off the planet. I think what he's doing is desperation to preserve his race." But so that's a good point. Like, how do you contrive if they were conquerors, like I'm suggesting? How would you contrive? There's only one ship, and Clark is in it. Oh, okay, fair enough. Now, the way you could play it is for some reason, Jor-El. Like maybe it's not as I'm just spitballing. Maybe it's not as advanced of a society as we usually depict Krypton, and Jor-El is just a brilliant scientist that can build a ship, and nobody else on Krypton has done that. So it's not that they're not allowed to; it's just nobody else has built one, and they're not space conquerors. There's just a Rome on the planet that's taken over all of the city states on the planet. Like you could do it like that. So I'm just saying there's ways to get around that notion, but to Robert's point, it can't just be desperation to save the race if he's like ruled them without mercy. He clearly has like sinister ambition.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that line was
Where does it
like
come
the most
from?
obvious ADR patchwork, and I
Yes.
almost laughed out loud in the theater when I read it.
Look up in the sky.
We're all running to get into the shelter so we don't die. Look!
Well, it's also weird because
Is that the Statue of Liberty brought to the United States from France in the 1800s?
it also read to me like it was trying to, and I don't know if it was even looking at this, but like it was trying to like outshock us from Smallville, because Smallville does that message is rule them with strength, and that at the time was real radical. Whereas like, oh wow, Jor-El wants him to rule, not to like save and inspire, which is what he usually does. And then this movie just straight up says, no, Jor-El said save and inspire, and Jor-El says conqueror, and I don't know where Zod is in all of this, but
I don't know.
Maybe Zod is gonna be an altruistic good guy. He's like, I really hate that Jor-El. Oh, his son's alive? I'm gonna go take care of him. I saw the message that he told him to go and conquer. Then he comes and he sees Superman's a cool guy, and for whatever reason, he's like, I don't trust you. I'm gonna fight you. That'd be like the worst take on Zod, maybe ever.
I don't think you're ever gonna see Zod in this continuity. They won't
Yeah, I
do
don't
it.
think so either.
Well, you say that, but hey. We still have, what, 3 more Superman movies after Man of Tomorrow that they want to do? So
Nothing is sure anymore. We'll
I don't
one at a
think they'll
time.
go there after the last continuity did it, but I could be wrong.
And especially after we brought it back in the Flash
Yeah.
for no reason.
look, there are 3 rules to every Superman series, okay? Rule 1, Superman's got to be in it. Rule 2, Lex Luthor's got to be in it. And Rule 3, Zod's got to be in it.
Yes,
So-
but the fourth rule used to be make people want Brainiac but never do Brainiac, and they're actually going to do Brainiac. So they're breaking this now. So in fact, I think Gunn is more likely to basically just do a female Zod. So you won't get Zod, but you could get Feora again, or you could get Ursa again, or you could make up a character. But I think it's a lot more likely
What's
that you
Faye
get
Dunaway's
Zod.
character from the 1984 Supergirl movie?
Well, that's just a
They'll bring
witch.
her in.
She's not even Kryptonian.
She'll be a Zod witch or something. I don't know.
A Zod witch.
Well,
a Kryptonian witch.
Connor, like, joking aside, of course, James Gunn could say something tomorrow that could completely contradict this, because I don't know if James Gunn likes Zod or not, but I would just guess, knowing how much into these comics he is and how aware he is of the previous movies and what worked and didn't, like, I just don't see James Gunn ever going to Zod,
Yeah.
especially when there's a plethora
Same.
of Superman villains we've never done that he would do. Like,
In fact,
Mongol
I'm shocked
and
that
Bizarro.
he stuck with the ridiculous trend even into Superman of you can't have a villain in a Superman movie that's not Lex or Zod or a clone of Superman. And up until next year, we've held that since 1978.
Well, you know what? Look, I'm not saying I want Zod. I don't. I'm just saying I am so conditioned to be like, when's it gonna be Zod? Like I'm just like I'm expecting the door to open inevitably.
I think that'll happen when James Gunn is out and the DCU is rebooted again. That's when we do bringing back Zod, baby.
Oh my god.
That's when we do it.
So I couldn't remember right off, and I looked at the back of the box, which by the way, I had to squint at real hard because they put white text on this like yellow background, and it was just impossible to read. Although I think this is a little discolored, so that might be unfair. But I mean, like I couldn't hardly read it. No, her name
It's
is
white text on a white background.
yeah. The witch's name is just Selena, which I should have remembered because A, Catwoman, and B, I have a daughter named Selena.
Yeah, you named her after that movie.
Exactly.
Well, you know what? I'll say this much about Supergirl. It's better than Supergirl.
Yeah. No, it is, and by a wide margin.
No, certainly. I think the '84 movie is one of the worst like superhero movies. Like it is so boring. Like it is it is the longest 2 hours I've ever sat through.
This movie, the new Supergirl, sags a bit in the middle. This movie just sags. Like this movie Screen Actors Guild through the entire film. Like
correct. I gotta. You guys keep talking. There's something I gotta find. I gotta go digging through some Discord.
Robert, you know what I didn't need? And it was
What's that?
weird because there's no follow through for this whatsoever. I didn't need the obligatory moment where we have to comment on how outdated, ostensibly outdated, the title is, the term Supergirl is. So Ruthie's got to come out in a scene and go, "Why aren't you Superwoman?" And he gets to be Superman. And then her response is nothing. She doesn't even say anything. And then we just move on. And then it never comes up again. And it's like, it felt completely obligatory. It's like, no, we have to. And they're trying to like have their cake and eat it too. Where they go, let's bring it up for progressives in the audience that think that that's sexist or something. But not actually have Supergirl have an opinion so that we don't offend anybody.
Yeah, I mean, like that's a joke that didn't bother me in the moment, but your criticisms are
It's not a
totally
joke.
valid.
It's just an observation for no reason.
Yeah. Well, because she asks, like, well, is your
It's a
cousin
joke
like
without a
substantially? Yeah, sure. Yeah, because she's like, well, is your cousin substantially older than you? And she's like, yeah, not really. But again, it's weird that we have like the Woman of Tomorrow motif in the comic where we make a point with it, and then that's
true.
not in the movie.
That's true. Yeah, you know what? I never really thought about that. That it's kind of odd that you have an almost contradicting title. Supergirl, woman, girl, woman.
Yeah.
It'd be like, can you imagine if you had a story about Connor Kent called Superboy, Man of Tomorrow? My head would explode. I don't even know what to do with that.
For sure. Yeah, this movie, it's unfortunate. It's kind of a monkey's paw situation for me, because when this was announced a few years ago, this is really exciting because 99% of the time, like, we don't adapt like graphic novels like this.
Yeah, I was stoked about
a
it.
film, and it was like, oh, cool, because I'm so used to these cheap, crappy DC animated movies adapting these comics. Like, I like some of them,
but and I'm stoked about Nightfall. It looks great.
Nightfall looks good, but I've seen a lot of those DC animated direct-to-video movies. In my opinion, most of them are very crappy.
Okay, but so far the multi-part Batmans have been some of the best ones.
That is true.
So,
I mean, Long Halloween I thought was fine, but
but it didn't suck.
Sure.
And Dark Knight Returns was quite good.
I love Dark Knight Returns. But anyway, when this was announced, it was like, oh,
and
cool,
Hush is both not good and an improvement. It's amazing. Anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh god, that's its own can of worms. But I still love Under the Red Hood. That's one of my favorites.
Yeah, of course.
Of those.
Well, and that's one of those rare cases where it improved on the original by doing it completely differently and with the same writer, which is so cool.
And it's so easy to picture like the all-star Superman version of this movie where it cuts out the wrong things and keeps the wrong things. Because I do not like the all-star Superman animated movie, and it's so easy to picture this getting that treatment in a crappy, cheap DC animated movie.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh cool, we're getting like a big budget live action theatrical treatment of this material. Great. And then what we got is just ugly and uninspired and like it's really disappointing with the potential this thing had.
Connor, what did you talk about?
I just wanted to quickly tie a bow on the Supergirl 84 thing where I remember my mini review when you and Austin did the rewind. As I said, the one notable thing about the movie is that it appears the filmmakers behind Supergirl figured out how to warp entropy via cinema, and in turn created the world's longest 2 hours ever. So.
That's good.
That's amazing.
Oh, another thing I wanted to say is just
what I could have used from that movie in this though. Just have some reference to the Omegahedron. Like, why not? Anyway, sorry.
Jimmy Olsen should have just showed up to be like, hey, I was in the last Supergirl movie.
He's just banging some alien chick that he's not all that attracted to.
Hell yeah.
I'm sorry.
Story.
Well, one of the DCU projects coming out that I'm still really looking forward to is that Mr. Miracle animated show, which is also adapting a Tom King story. And again, that could go very poorly. We haven't seen a trailer or anything yet. Like the animation could be cheap and look bad. I don't know. But hypothetically, if that show comes out and is great, I think you're going to see a lot of people looking back at this movie and go, oh, well, why couldn't that be an animated miniseries? That would have been so much better for this material. So that could happen. Because it's like they blew it. Like, again, I didn't hate this movie. I didn't think it was terrible, but it's like this was your one shot at adapting that, and they blew it. Like, they're never going to touch that again.
Yeah, and it's a really cinematic book. And it's rough. This is going to sound harsh, but it's rough to look at a book and then its adaptation and say the book is more cinematic than the film, which is a movie. You know what I mean? Like we often say the book is better than the original with books, with comics. Yeah, sure. Yeah. But at least visually, if you're making a movie, you want it to be cinematic, and it's rough when the book is, but the film isn't. And that's what I had.
Yeah, this is one ugly movie. Like, there's some cool creatures and puppetry and practical makeup. That stuff's really cool, but when she's finally in her Supergirl costume and there to do cool Supergirl things, it just looked completely fake and artificial and brown and smudgy, and you're listening to like a terrible cover of a song by Jimmy Eat World, and I was. You were saying you wanted to see my face whenever like the musical score was like, signaling that the bad guy was a bad guy. I wish you could see my face during like the whole climactic sequence, because I was just like, are we all seeing this?
Yeah, Jayson and I did the same thing. And there's a moment in Power Rangers 2017 where I have that, and I was reminded of this. Do you guys remember that weird cover when Billy dies in the middle of Power Rangers 2017? I had that with this. Apparently, they went through a whole bunch of different songs with this and could not pick one, and Gunn finally landed on it, and that was the one they went through like 45 different needle drops, and that's the one Gunn thought was appropriate for that scene.
That's it for it. And this, I mean, we've
It
already
was a cover
ranted
of a
about.
Smallville song.
We've already ranted about the all the needle drops throughout the movie, which is also where it reminded me of Suicide Squad. And look, to its credit,
It's
like
better than
at
that.
least it's better than that because Suicide Squad just plays every classic rock hit you've ever heard in your life, and just the most obvious. This at least had songs I've never heard before. That's something.
Yeah.
But it. Remember, I gave Masters of the Universe credit where say what you will about the couple of needle drop choices they made, but I was like, well, at least they're not playing one every 5 minutes, which is what this movie does.
Well, here's the thing that Masters of the Universe has. I know Cap always says this is like, the token compliment. Masters of the Universe has an amazing musical score.
That's
like,
what I said.
That came
That's
up
my
in a
best
review.
thing.
I gave Robert crap for saying that.
That's my best thing.
I would legit listen to that musical score. Like, it's nailing the tone the rest of the movie is attempting, but not quite landing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And you brought in Brian May. Oh like,
But-
yes.
Hell yeah.
But Connor, I cannot go with you on it's somehow better than this movie. Like I can't get there.
They have different problems.
This movie doesn't
I'd
have
still rather
Camila
watch
Mendes
this.
with
Well,
red
it's
hair, so-
shorter. Masters of the Universe is 45 minutes too long.
That's true.
No,
That's a
you're-
good point.
You're
You know what's
correct.
weird?
It's
You know what's
way
weird?
too long.
This is nowhere near as good as the Tom King book, and yet that book has a problem the movie doesn't, which is, and one of the Tom King isms for me, which is he's trying so hard to nail that kind of Tolkien period sort of voice with Ruthie that it's really overwritten. It's kind of overwrought. It reads a little pretentious to me in places, and the movie at least doesn't have that problem. Although I do think it might have benefited from adopting that structure where she's narrating the thing. I actually think that might have been helpful, but if you did that, you probably want to cast a different actress. Like, I feel like she's miscast, but for the like the character in the book, and they reinvent her some, so that's not fair. But I will call this fair or not. I do kind of wish they had just gone more with the version that's in the book, because I think this character is kind of generic in one note, and I wish she was older. Because the character in the book, even if she's supposed to be 13, she's an old 13. Like she does not feel like this character. She feels older than this character.
But Ruthie, like my brother made this observation, and I'm kicking myself for not having thought of it myself. But he's like, Ruthie just seems to want revenge because she wants revenge. Her family was murdered, but it's like, this is the daughter of like a person who makes weapons. Shouldn't she already kind of have a perspective on that? Like, like if she wants to use one of her father's weapons to go kill the guy who killed her father and her mother and like her family. And it's like, that feels like it's kind of there in the premise of like, she already has a worldview, and it kind of feels like she's just doing it single-mindedly, and Supergirl's there to try to like convince her to not do it. But I think it might have been better if like she did have a worldview and she was just kind of like more turning to Supergirl because she has more access to things and like is more connected with, the rest of the world because she's a little girl.
It reads in the book more like a family code, or like something she gets from the way she's raised, a little bit more than this. I think.
Well, and I don't think her father like makes weapons in the comic, unless I'm just forgetting.
I don't remember that.
part.
Maybe so.
Because Connor, how I remember it playing in the book is that Krem stabs her father, kills her father, and leaves the sword there. And I think it's Krem's sword. And one like thought Ruthie has is like, why did he leave behind this amazing sword?
That's right.
Like killing her father meant that little to him that he even like left behind this immaculate sword, and then that's her thing throughout the whole comic. So I don't know. It's again ignoring what the book does. Like Connor, it's like you could see a version of this movie where like Ruthie has to come to terms with like that maybe her parents were just not great people and were responsible in some level for what happened to them, and then she has to learn that lesson. But you don't really do that either.
It's also
like,
curious that her father seems kind of famous.
Yeah, which he's not in the comic.
Like
They're
there's a
just
scene
farmers.
where several people seem to know exactly who she's talking about, and I wasn't sure what that was about. Like off-world, I don't know why he's so well known.
It's very
See, like
creepy.
he makes like beloved swords. I think like his craftsmanship is like known across the cosmos or something. Is that the idea?
Well, I don't know, because
Yeah.
I also think the sword thing is odd if you're not going to go in with more of the fantasy bent.
Mhm.
Like that really.
But also,
it's. Sorry, go ahead.
I also have no clue like how far we go in this galaxy. Like, are all these planets like in the same solar? Like, all these planets right next to each other? I have no idea. Like, it doesn't feel like we go very far.
Yeah, the movie doesn't know either.
That's all.
Okay. I've got some comments to read, but before I do that, I just want to put a pin in the Green Sun thing because we haven't really talked very much about that. I just want to tell everybody why I think that's freaking stupid. And also, related to that is the business with the kryptonite at the end. So, I just don't get why. I guess we talked about this a little bit, but like this is a problem with the book too, and I was really hoping if they adapted it they would give us a little bit more of an explanation for it. Like, is the sun itself somehow kryptonite? Like, I don't understand that. I don't understand why it would affect her like that. It seems like if she gets in a yellow sun, it immediately neutralizes kryptonite. And I need someone to explain this because if it really worked in Superman things the way it does in this movie, I don't get why kryptonite would even hurt him. Because at the end of the movie, she gets stabbed repeatedly or hit repeatedly with kryptonite darts, and the kryptonite is sent into her system, and we see it affecting her cells. We do the Smallville thing where we zoom into her body and have like bad CG like blood platelets, okay, and they're kryptonitified, and then she just gets close to a yellow sun and it neutralizes the kryptonite. If that were the case, then why would it even affect Superman to shoot him with a kryptonite bullet on Earth? Wouldn't it just neutralize the kryptonite? Like I don't get. It's in her body.
Yeah, no,
like it's in her system.
Yeah,
That's a good point.
no, you're right.
Yeah, correct.
I loved how you said like the Green Sun is like playing by Golden Age Green Lantern rules. I had like that same kind of thought pass through my head. I'm like, so it's just the color green? Like,
Okay,
It's
so
so
Connor-
oversimplified. Because what that suggests is that you could just put a red light on Superman and he would have his powers. It's not the color that does it, you guys. It's radiation. Like, there's a difference between the radiation and red sun. So the only thing I could see, and all you had to do was explain this. I mean, I know this is me making this up, but it's a pretty easy, jump to make. Is if a green sun affects her like this is so freaking stupid. If a green sun affects her like kryptonite, then all you have to do is say that somehow or rather, when pieces of Krypton were irradiated, it gave them the radiation that you also can find in some suns. And so there is such a thing as a kryptonite sun, because it's the same kind of radiation as those irradiated space rocks. That's all I got to say. I don't understand that, but it's an explanation.
That is an explanation. My understanding of the comic was that like it's a green kryptonite sun that was like created artificially. I don't know who did that, but that was my read on it.
I don't remember him giving us any explanation. It seemed just like this movie where it went, it's green, so it hurts her like kryptonite.
Okay, sorry, Connor. Sorry, Connor. What we're told in the comic is that where Supergirl is like where bad guys have sent Superman before to try to kill him.
Right. Because it's green.
So, and again, my read on it was that it's an artificially created kryptonite sun. I don't know.
Does the book say that? Because you can make up any explanation you want to make up. I don't
read
remember
it once.
that being in the book.
I don't remember,
Here's-
but it seemed like the way I read it was like this planet was like created to trap Superman because
I read it
Superman is,
as
like,
they
a
found
cosmic
this
spirit.
planet that has this green sun. They sent the people there.
And you might be right.
Couldn't I say the same thing about the movie? Like, could I just make that up?
I don't know, but the point being
If it's in the book,
comic,
cool, but I don't remember that. I
Alright.
was looking for it when I was reading it. And I didn't see any explanation.
Alright.
But
like I said, I only read it once, but it's a place that Superman was sent before, like to kill him, and that's why like
well, and I could be wrong. I'm
know about
repeatedly misreading the ending, so like I could totally be wrong. Sorry,
it.
Connor.
But in the movie, like when the guy, okay, I'm done.
Go ahead, Connor.
Go ahead, Connor.
Well, the defense I could try to think of is the sun is radioactive, right? And it's, I guess, reasonably close to the planet. And maybe it's like a visual communication that this sun gives off a similar like radiation that kryptonite gives off. Maybe, but it gets a little confusing when they just say it's green sun, where it's like,
Yeah.
but is that the same thing as kryptonite? I guess. But it's just like a way to get her off the table for 10 to 15 minutes. So I don't know. Like,
And also, he's looking at it. Also, Connor, she doesn't seem, and the book does this too. She also doesn't seem surprised by it. Like, oh crap,
No,
there's this sun, and it does the same thing to me that kryptonite does. It's, oh crap, a green sun. I know what this does. Why do you
right,
know
yes,
that though?
Yeah.
Right, and how do the bad guys? Because again, like she just gets dumped on the planet by that Squidward guy. Again, this is what I was talking about earlier, where we have like 2 scenes in a row where she trusts a stranger, the couple poisons her, and then that's a problem for a minute, and then like in the next sequence, he just dumps her on that planet, and she's like, "Oh no, green." It's really weird.
But like, I don't like. Do Krem and his gang just hang out on this planet, or is it like, look, we know a Kryptonian's following us. We somehow understand Kryptonians, even though there's only 2 of them left alive in the entire galaxy, and I guess we know how they function. Like, that's a big question mark.
All you have to say, because Gunn is clearly not doing a universe where it's got to be, full on Last Son of Krypton. All you have to say is there actually are some more out there, and we've dealt with 1 or 2 of them before.
Yeah, but I mean, sure, you could do that, but like a lot of this is about Supergirl feeling alone, like, and it's like that feels amplified by this idea of there aren't any more that they know of. It's just me, and it's just Superman, but Superman got to live his whole life on Earth, and so I don't feel like I belong anymore.
But you can't have it both ways. They have too many safeguards against Kryptonians.
Yeah, I'm just kind of confused. And
okay,
it's like,
go ahead.
Krem just Krem just has access to kryptonite. Has he always had access to kryptonite? Did he acquire it once he figured out Supergirl was chasing him? How did he know that she was Kryptonian? Is it she wasn't wearing like
maybe
her crest or her costume?
There are other ways to do this. Say that he has it. This is convenient, but say that he uses it as a source for something else.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, like. And Connor, this is the part of the problem of truncating it is like in the comic, it's over months and they're like pursuing him across the galaxy and he knows that they're after him. And at one point, like he requires like this magical device that sends Supergirl to that planet with the green sun.
Yeah.
To incapacitate. So like he knows she's after him and acquires some of these things along the way. And in the movie, like that makes sense. In the movie, he just has kryptonite at the last minute.
And John Kelling is like, I mean, technically there's a whole chunk of Kryptonian City floating out there in space.
Yeah.
Yeah, with no communication outside of it. So,
like, and again, this isn't in the comic, but what if Krem has been to Argo and there you go. Like, and has gotten kryptonite from there.
Okay, is it in the book? Robert, you have it open. Is it in the book?
Okay, it's so Supergirl and Ruthie are sent to that planet, and she says that dumb line you complain about: "The sun is green." Next page, Supergirl explains: Supergirl explains. She says they built this place for Cal, my cousin, Superman, to trap him, a green sun, kryptonite, with a world of monsters. I don't know how they did it, but that's what the book says.
Oh, they say the sun is actually made of kryptonite. Okay.
Yes, a green sun, kryptonite.
I don't know why I remember reading that as a green sun like kryptonite or something, but okay. Well, so you found the proof. Thank you for that. They should have said that in the movie. I still don't Well, okay, I say they should have said that in the movie, except has Superman even been around long enough and dealt with space stuff enough that anyone would want to build a prison for him?
No, and I'm very certain that's why that's not in the movie. Because Superman's only been around for a few years, probably hasn't done a lot of like space cosmic adventures, so that's why that's not there. Which again begs the question: of all the stuff you cut out, why'd you keep that part?
So I will now say it is 50% less dumb in the book and more dumb in the movie than it even was before.
and also, Connor, why it's so dangerous, it's not just the sun that's killing her, there's also all these like dinosaur monsters that are trying to kill
Jayson
her.
Was talking about.
Like Jayson was talking about, that Ruthie has to defend Supergirl from, and that's Ruthie's like really big she has to step up moment, is there's like a 10-hour period that she has to keep her and Supergirl alive, fending off these monsters as the sun goes down.
And that's the
there's a lot of
biggest
tension
adventure
there.
that bonds them.
Yep.
Like, it's very
Nice. That
important
sounds
for their
cool.
relationship.
That sounds better, right?
Yeah, it sounds really cool.
Yeah.
Robert, Nicholas Bodo says, this is kind of related to what we're talking about with, like, why did they keep this but not this? What do you guys think of Krem being a sex trafficker rather than a genocidal mercenary like he was in the comic? Yeah, I was really shocked and blown away that they didn't have the racist planet. When I found out that they were adapting this, the first thing I thought was, well, there's no way they leave that out. With our sensibilities now in 2026, like, they'll want to make a point of that. They left it out, and it reads to me kind of superficial, like. And tell me if you agree with this, Robert, because I mean, I could be wrong. I don't want to guess at people's motivations too hard, but it really reads like it'll feel more relatable if we make it like women, like girls being sex trafficked, because it's a movie about a girl. Like, that's the best I can come up with. It's like, it really reads like that to me.
So, according to the screenwriter, again, I think this is Hollywood Reporter. I saw this interview with you, and she talked about some of the changes and things they added. And her explanation for why they cut some of that stuff is because in the comic, like, it's past tense, like it's stuff that's already happened. So it's giving the movie something more immediate that Krem is currently doing that they have to stop, whether you like that or not.
But it's such a good screwed up reveal. Like, could you imagine? Again, this movie doesn't know how to be dramatic. Could you imagine if she's on that planet for a while and then finds out, oh, this is the reason this other race isn't here anymore, and then it would make. Like the brigands came here. This is what the book does. The brigands came here, and there was this other race that was subjugated on this planet, and in order to satiate the brigands so they wouldn't hurt any of the people that are on top in this class society, they let the brigands just genocide all these other people, and we find this area where they've just literally put all the skeletons. And could you imagine that on screen? Like, she opens a door and there it is. Like, no, just because it happened in the past, we're not going to do that. Like, okay.
Yeah, and the screenwriter also said it was just something like just another obstacle, like something like putting Ruthie and Supergirl in more immediate danger on this quest. I don't know. And then again, to my question earlier, like, well, if Krem's like whole deal, like if the brigands, their whole deal is trafficking women, why does he just leave Ruthie behind when he kills her family? Why doesn't he take her?
Yeah,
is it because she's just kid? I don't know.
I mean, yeah, like it adds like a sort of some kind of tension between our heroes and the bad guy, but like we never see their sex trafficking plot. It's like these brides are just kind of around sometimes, and we never really see the brigands like interact with them. And so it's really weird when one of the brides gets like a kill shot later on and like a nod, and it's like, is that supposed to be like a payoff to a subplot we didn't get? Like, I don't Like
Hmm.
that's again going back to the editing, like a weird like it's like a tell where I'm like, hold on.
Yeah, and then
Why was that shot? Yeah.
there's a scene earlier with the family that betrays Kara again, poisons her, and they're like, "Well, we wanted to trade the two of you to get her daughter back," and then they end up getting killed. Their daughter ends up getting killed, and that whole scene is just so rushed and awkward. Where Ruthie's like, "Why'd you stop me from killing him? If you didn't stop me, they'd still be alive." And I'm like, "Yeah," like it's just really confused. I don't,
Okay. There's one
I don't know.
editing choice in that whole action scene that is like it's so this is a nitpick, guys, but it's minor and it feels like a like a millisecond of like amateur like iMovie editing where I think what happened so like Prem has just killed the bar owners and the bar owner's daughter in the alleyway. And he starts flying up to his ship. And we sort of Kara is like flying towards the scene. It's sort of like wide, it's not exactly a POV, but it's kind of trying to replicate a little bit of a POV where you can see in the alleyway the dead family and Crumb
Mhm.
flying upward. And I think it was just supposed to be that shot. And then test audiences were going, wait a minute, in the next shot she's flying down, but the subject of that shot was clearly Krem flying upward. That's just kind of visually confusing. So what they've done is in that wide shot, they just kind of do this is digital zoom down towards the
Yes.
alleyway.
Oh, I forgot about
And
that.
like it doesn't feel like an intentional like the camera is like
Mhm.
motivated like looking downward. So then the next shot is her flying downward. It feels like we didn't shoot this. People were kind of confused at what that was supposed to be because it's a POV shot. So it's conceivably supposed to be what we're looking at is what is capturing Kara's attention. So let's just
Okay,
zoom towards the out.
Connor, I'm gonna half take up for it.
Okay, okay.
I'm gonna half take up for it because I was distracted by that in the theater, and I very quickly explained it away in my head and never thought about it again as telescopic vision.
Okay. I just feel bad then for
Which we've
Kryptonians
done
where
with Kryptonians quite a bit in other
no,
things.
you're right, but I just feel bad for the Kryptonians that in this continuity, the pixel count on their vision drops dramatically. That's just really unfortunate.
No, you're 100% right about what the reason is, and I did not pick up on that. I just went, that was a weird choice. Oh wait, I guess Kryptonians can do that sometimes. No, you're right.
Anyways, that's just a really crazy nitpick.
Mhm.
I'm sorry to
Okay,
derail the
no,
conversation.
that was. I'm so glad you brought that up because I thought about it in the theater too, and then I wrote it off. Um, We've got one more super chat. I'll read real fast. We're almost at 3 hours, so let's wrap things up. We'll make sure to get to anything else you guys want to talk about real quick. John Ty, $5 super chat. I'll just address this real fast. This is the third season for My Adventures with Superman is out, which I've not started watching yet. When are we getting a review for My Adventures with Superman season 1 and 2? I'm not going to promise anything. I would like to talk about that more at length at some point. I just don't know when I'll get to it. It is difficult with my schedule to do whole seasons of television and keep them in my head and then talk about them. So I want to do that, but that's all I can say right now. At some point, hopefully, because I talk about that all the time as a thing I really like, and then I haven't actually reviewed it. Nicholas Photo, why not 5 hours? I don't have 5 hours on this one.
Did we skip a super chat? Senior Stick says my super chat.
I don't know. Let me look. I didn't see one from him. And my page isn't refreshing. So if either of you guys can find it. Oh, here it is. $2 super chat. Thanks, Senior Sticks. Has DC stated if common language devices exist? I mean, not in the movie, in the movies yet. I
Well,
forget how exactly it's handled in comics, and it might not be consistent.
it's not.
We usually do this kind of thing with a universal translator, but
Well, it looks like Krem has one when he shows up, like on his neck,
that's what I
that
thought
he like
that was at
activates.
first, and then I wasn't totally sure because other people I were not using it, but seemed like they would probably have to have a universal translator to understand people. So I wasn't I wasn't totally sure. And then I thought maybe he had like a breathing problem. That was like a breathing apparatus, but he did push it right before he started talking to somebody, so I don't know.
I don't know.
More people should have had those.
Yeah. And again, like it wouldn't bother me that much if we were just more consistent about it, or just don't address it. Like don't make me think about it.
Yeah.
I think I'm all caught up on the DCU projects. I don't think any other um I don't think any of the shows or anything have had like off-planet characters that are in need of a translator, so
Right, because like the next one would be lanterns, but like that's built into the lore with the rings, like because the
Yeah.
rings
Yeah.
function that way.
I should say
Oh.
it's pretty interesting that this soon. I mean, it's also not shocking since it's Gunn running the whole thing, but it's interesting that this soon into a shared superhero universe, we're already out in space doing the cosmic thing and hardly spending any time on Earth. Like it's like if you did Guardians second. I mean, it is kind of interesting. Like
Yeah.
it's hard not to want to compare this to the way MCU was handled because you're hearing a lot of people say, I mean, not a lot, but I mean, I have heard some detractors with this, and like I'm not liking it either. Say, well, we're just two in. The DCU is already dead. Like we've got a movie that's bombing, and you know, it's somebody that
No.
wasn't liking it very much. Like, well, it was fun while it lasted, and I'm like, the MCU didn't have a gigantic bomb immediately after, but Incredible Hulk wasn't like hugely watched and loved. Like
It didn't make money.
did it not? Yeah, like your second and third DC or MCU movies are two of the least appreciated in that run.
Yeah.
Like, people don't hate Incredible Hulk, but Iron Man 2 was considered the worst of those for the longest time.
That's true, and in my opinion,
Thor's not real well liked. I mean, you have to get to Captain America before people are kind of impressed again, and then Avengers is what really finally solidifies the whole thing. But I'm just saying,
Oh, absolutely.
There's precedent for like learn to crawl in a shared universe, but you could also go to the other side and say, well, yeah, but they should have learned those lessons already and known what things to make early, and that's fair. But it doesn't mean it's not gonna work out over. It doesn't mean that it's dead.
Man of Tomorrow is the real test, and I have always said like I don't think this movie affects that one way or the other.
Neither will Clayface.
Neither will Clayface, and Clayface, God willing, should be very profitable. Like that should be an easy win, because that's a much cheaper movie.
Well, if Clayface does what this did over opening weekend, it's okay. It's going to make it.
Yeah. Exactly.
It only needs 40. I mean, it'll be fine.
Okay, great. I hope he means this in like a humorous way that you guys are saying. Is the DCU dead? He says Clayface will save the DCU. It's dead. It's saved.
Well,
it's dead.
That's the thing. But the opposite is also true. If Clayface does bananas numbers, it doesn't tell you anything about how the rest of the universe will go.
Not
Absolutely.
True. Yeah.
Even though it's in continuity, that's as much of a Joker situation as it is anything.
See, it's interesting though, because like I think the thing that James Gunn though is trying to get at is, I think his goal is to sort of remove the audience from this perceived need to see everything in order to understand what's going on. And so it's like, we're going to do a Supergirl movie that's really out there, and then we're going to do a Clayface movie that's on Earth, but it's like a horror thing and tonally disconnected from the other stuff. And so it's just kind of this way of catering to a bunch of different tastes, and you can watch all of it if you want to, but not everybody needs to see everything. And I think that might be the idea behind, especially with Clayface, the budget, where it's like, this is going to have more niche appeal than Superman, so it'll be smaller budgeted. I think like that's kind of the goal, is to make it be more like a regular movie studio that produces different kinds of movies.
But they're failing at that with this because it costs too much. So
yes,
if the idea is they don't all have to be accessible to every kind of person, it's okay if there's a bunch of detractors and this ends up being more niche. A, it can't cost $200 million, and B, I could be wrong, but I shouldn't feel like I'm detecting choices made because they're worried it won't appeal to everybody.
Yeah.
So like what you're talking about doesn't math with this movie.
No, you're not wrong. I guess what I'm trying to say is like I think that is I'm trying to read James Gunn's vision through kind of what he's saying, and it's
Yeah,
like he's
I'm
trying
with you,
to.
but he also
But then
runs
there's
the studio
also
and would be making some of the calls that I feel like compromised this movie.
But you're not wrong. You're not wrong. But there's also more than just James Gunn at stake here, who probably have different, agendas and
Yeah,
different ideas and
that's
different
true.
plans. And James Gunn also has to play ball with them. So
Yeah.
I think,
Well, they need
It's
to get out of
tricky.
the
Like,
way because it was I don't know, the way he talked about it at the start, and this is probably naive of any of us to fully buy this, is like they've given me the keys to the kingdom and I can just kind of roll now. um so I mean, unless it's just him and Saffron button heads on stuff, i I think you're right. I think there's probably some other executives that are at play.
yeah, I don't know what happened here. And to Connor's point, like I appreciate that this isn't doing the MCU thing. It's not following that model of we're treating each movie as an episode of a TV show, and this is one long TV show we're expecting everyone to watch
Yeah.
and be invested in. Like we're making completely standalone separate things, which is really cool in theory. And again, I hope Clayface is great. I'm really looking forward to that.
it
But
could have also just been the director was like maybe needing more, and like, maybe the project got away from him, and James Gunn's trying to service his director by giving him more resources. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe so.
yeah, like
Like I said,
that's
this is
what's
a big what happened. I would be very curious to just know what the
yes.
production. This seems like a very labored, troubled production.
Yeah, like
Absolutely.
none of the actors needed a gigantic paycheck. Nobody,
Mhm.
like relatively no one you've heard of besides Momoa is in this, and he didn't get a gigantic paycheck to be in this. So
Mhm.
it didn't go to
And
actors.
and we wouldn't be complaining about the budget if the movie looked great. Which again, I say this
I
every review
still
we do on these things. I don't blame the VFX
I
artists.
disagree though, Robert. I would still complain about the budget because they were never going to make a Supergirl movie that could make back, arguably, that could make back what this needed to. Like, or at least it's really risky to expect
Uh,
a movie about this character to do what it needed to.
it's hard to say. Well, okay, the current number I'm looking at, that this may be wrong, but the current number I'm looking at is that this cost 186 million.
Yeah.
Which is substantially lower than what Superman got, because Superman was well over 200 million. So like this was cheaper than that. But you're right. Like we probably should have kept this under 150.
And
I
look,
would say,
when this
and
was,
I don't know.
and I don't mean to sound hypocritical. When this movie was announced, I was like, well, if you make the right trailer,
Mhm.
even people that don't care about this character in the first place will go see it. I didn't expect it to cost this much. You got to keep it at around 100, and they didn't do that.
That's fair.
And I really
Yeah,
thought they
and
would.
I feel like this would have been a bigger hit. Like I said, I think this was teed up like as well as you could have teed up any movie. I kind of think they had a
Mhm.
debt on their hands because, like I said, they kind of
Yeah.
didn't market it super hard, especially in like the
No,
last 4 months.
and in my opinion, like if they made it, if we got a great movie, I think it would have legs, even if it didn't have a huge opening
Yes.
weekend. Like I think
Yeah.
it would perform fine if it was just better.
I will
still
say
think it
I am
would
very
struggle to
glad
make
that
that budget back, but it wouldn't be doing what it's doing.
yeah, I will say I'm very happy that the song "Call Me" by Blondie is not in this movie.
Oh,
Well, because it's the theme song for a different movie. And so there is a movie from 1980 called American Gigolo. If you look at the writing credits for Call Me by Blondie, it is written by Blondie and Giorgio Moroder. If you look at American Gigolo, the music is composed by Giorgio Moroder, and like that, like that is
There's
the
other
melody, the theme
examples
melody
of
of
multiple movies that effectively use
No,
the same song.
no,
Yeah.
Cap. It would be like if you took a James Bond theme song and tried to make that like a part of a different movie. Like it isn't just like
I mean
it's a,
that was Austin's complaint with Masters of the Universe, because that used a song from the Highlander soundtrack.
and that's the problem I had with that movie.
Okay.
It was like
I don't think it's necessarily. I don't have a dog in this fight. I don't know. I don't have a crypto here. I don't know why I'm arguing with you, Connor. I was just gonna say, If it's a song that was then, though, a big single and had legs on its own and people know apart from that because it was all over the radio, I think maybe it's more okay. Like, I wouldn't do it with any James Bond song that's not Live and Let Die, because that was a huge radio single. Like, I think that one
So
actually...
was Skyfall.
Uh,
Skyfall
Yeah,
was
okay.
a huge
It was.
hit.
no, that's true. Yeah,
There are
I probably
there are
disagree with my
View
own
to a
point.
Kill. A
There are
View to a Kill,
definitely-
like,
there are definitely songs that are created for specific movies
It's also-
that are then recycled in movies decades later that I know I've liked.
It's
and
also
I'm
a
on the
little
spot
different
and
when
I
it's
can't think
decades.
of
Yeah, Skyfall was 2012. It's a little different when it's decades earlier.
well, okay. Like it would be like if in 10 years the song "See You Again" by Wiz Khalifa featuring Charlie Puth just appeared in like a different movie. You'd be like that is
I don't
the
know what
best
any of
song.
that means.
That was
Fast
from
and Furious.
Furious 7. That's Fast and Furious 7, where it's like one of the biggest hits of 2015. But it's like
Okay.
it isn't just like it's a song written for a movie. It's the theme song from a movie.
Has my
I get it.
has my heart will go on been in another movie yet? It's probably has.
No, probably
I don't know. I don't know.
I'm
Maybe in a
also
comedy, like maybe
not-
in Scary Movie it shows up, but like
I'm also not saying I needed that song in this movie. Like, I didn't
I agree.
need any of these songs
look,
in this movie.
that's just like a personal like artistic
That's
nitpick
fair.
that I have where it's like, look, this was made for this movie. It isn't just like a song that's on the soundtrack. It's not like Kiss from a Rose
Yeah.
where like it's not really in the movie. It's just kind of written for the movie to promote it. But like
Kiss
yeah.
from a
How-
Rose
how
isn't
do you-
even written for that movie. Don't do that. That's he's got
That's
that on an album years before that comes out. In fact, he tried to
Oh,
release
really?
it.
Okay.
No, he tried to release it
Yeah.
as a single. It didn't go. And then Batman Forever comes out and it's huge. Like he released it as a single twice. Sorry, I'm a Seal fan.
Hell yeah, go get it, Seal. You know what you got. Like,
And then
Batman
that
Forever.
really
Um,
launched his career a lot harder. But anyway, I like Seal
Connor,
a lot.
ha-
Quick plug for
how-
Seal 7. That's one of the greatest albums ever written. Anyway.
Connor, how do you feel about when we recycle score for other movies in different contexts? Because we do that all the time.
Yeah.
like okay, I think
Now it's a G and
the
N.
exceptional.
We gotta finish this.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Look, I think the exception I'll make is for parody. Like in comedy, you can kind of get away with stuff. Like
I mean-
Robert Patrick showing up as the T-1000 in Wayne's World is just a funny gag. In the
Mhm.
same way they use like the Jurassic Park theme in Wayne's World 2 is funny.
Or
But,
Jaws and Airplane.
Sure, yeah.
But like
it,
Tarantino does that all the time, and like it's not
and I have a hard
parody.
time with it. I have a
Okay.
hard time with it, to be honest.
okay. I'm just asking.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can
Anyways,
table
that's
this
just
and do
me
a
being
whole
hard at it.
discussion on it at some point if you really want to. Goofster123, $10 super chat. According to John Campia, so grain of salt, I would say, but they have already cast DCU Batman, and with the failure of Supergirl, are they going to pivot hard to Batman stuff, etc., putting Batman into Clayface through reshoots, etc.? They're putting
I
on
find-
a brave face and saying, yeah, this is a dud. It doesn't, like, as far as it's performing, it doesn't affect our overall plan, and we can afford some misfires because we're just trying to build a world and we're seeing what's going to work and what's not going to work. I could see some degree of some of that happening. I mean, I think it would be, tell me if you guys agree with this, I think it would be disingenuous to completely ignore the concern that we're gonna, like, this might affect other projects in we're meddling with what we need more of and less of, given that they, before they had any idea how the movie was gonna go, they felt the need to put more Superman in it to try to sell it harder. So, like, yeah, I don't know that that's going to mean let's put more Batman in Clayface. I don't know. The former regime would have absolutely done that. The former regime
Yes.
would have reshot Clayface as a Batman movie over this.
Well, then again, regardless of how you think about the movie, what was smart about adapting this and why this seemed like a good idea is this was always intended to be a one-off. You know, like this isn't the start of a Supergirl trilogy that, oh no, now we need to scrap that and figure out something else. Like, no, like this was always going to be a one and done. As for the Batman of it all, I strongly disagree because we have the Batman 2 coming out next year. They're going to put all their chips on that right now and all their attention on that right now. The last thing they want to do is bring in another Batman right now to distract audiences with when the Batman 2 is finally coming out after like 5 years.
I also think that if I'm saying this in hindsight now that we've seen that this didn't go, but I wonder if for an off the beaten path sort of project like this, where like for general audiences, it seems counterintuitive that you'd set your Supergirl movie entirely in space and that she'd be, you know, drunk half the time, and that it would be, when you're building a shared universe, the very next movie after Superman. There's almost this feeling of, I'm going to overstate this, but just with general moviegoers that I'm hearing from, there's almost like this kind of like perceived Superman fatigue thing, where it's like, well, we just had Superman last year, and now you're wanting us to go to another movie about that same like corner of, you know, pocket of the universe the very next year. If they had had more goodwill with their audience by putting out one or two other things that people liked, this movie could have done a little better. Maybe. It is odd that it's the very next thing. And that is a thing that MCU didn't do that was smart. Was go, you know, the very next thing you do isn't just another Iron Man. In fact, I always thought it was weird that the third movie was a sequel to their first movie when they're trying to build a shared universe.
I don't personally have that, like, especially just with the way we played that Supergirl cameo in that Superman movie. It's like, yeah, then she gets her spinoff next, and that's the next movie. That always felt fine to me. And I get it, if this movie was great, like I think these two would complement each other really well. Like you make a Superman movie that's all on Earth about him being on Earth, and we don't do the Krypton flashback stuff. And then your very next movie, you get the space cosmic adventure, and you get the Krypton flashbacks. Like I think that was all a fine idea.
Yeah, and this movie is
that never bothered me.
More downbeat, and it doesn't have that fast-paced, like kinetic, you're throwing everything at the audience thing. Like I was exhausted watching the Superman. I did not have that with this, and it's like those are intentionally doing opposite things. And on paper, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I guess I agree with both of you in the sense that, like, with Cap, like, I agree that, like,
sure, be a fence setter. That's fine.
No, well, I mean, it's like, I agree with Cap on the first part of that, and I agree with Robert on the second part of that, where it's like, if this was the old regime, they would, like, run around with their, like, heads on fire at the first sign of any kind of failure. And I just think that, like, they understand the assignment of just stay the course. We have a contract for 2 years. Let's just do what we are going to do, and then at the end of that, like, let's reassess things and kind of move on. And you know, so I don't think that they're going to turn Clayface into a Batman movie, for example. But I agree with Robert, like putting like this whole like cinematic universe, like at least in film, putting your super step forward, like I kind of like that as a way of just sort of defining the flavor. And I wasn't like, I saw some discussion of this just looks like a James Gunn ripoff movie, or like it's trying really hard to be James Gunny, and I'm like, well, I'm okay with that because it's Supergirl, like it's gonna be different than Superman, but it's still in like the super family, so like I'm kind of okay with that, you know. I thought like, and like the way Robert just kind of like laid it out, like kind of doing this second, it made sense to me. Like I kind of was actually, it actually seemed intuitive.
But I understand the bad taste that some people have in their mouth, especially if they're not big Gunn fans, when they go, well, he didn't even make this, and it's like intentionally throwing in so many of his sensibilities. Because that, now I think incorrectly, we'll see what happens with the Clayface, but incorrectly, in my opinion, that's got people saying, okay, so the whole universe has to feel like a James Gunn film. And that's why it probably wasn't the smartest thing to crib as much from Guardians in your second movie, just for the PR of it. Like, oh, everything's Gunn now. Okay, because that was the fear a lot of people had when he got the job.
Right.
Again, I'm not
Yeah.
as worried about that, but I get why people are.
Same.
Well, we're about to do a little bit of a zag because we're going to get Lanterns, which looks very different than tonally
Yeah.
than anything else we've gotten. And then Clayface looks more in line with Lanterns, but it does look distinct in like of its own thing.
Yeah, I think the way Gunn is perceiving it, whether you think this is a good idea or not, like he's not just because like a lot of people are really caught up on just the film slate of like, okay, so our phase one, so to speak, is Superman, Supergirl, Clayface, Superman 2. That's a really weird phase one slate, and that's just not the way Gunn is looking at that because he's looking at the TV shows in between those as equals. Whether you think that's correct or not, because Connor's right. Like the next DCU project is Lanterns, which looks very different, and then after that is Clayface, which looks very different. Like, so
And that's how
again,
Marvel has handled everything since Endgame, and that's not worked out great for them.
That's true.
Which is why I think
it
he
might
is
work better on the
kinda
DC
like-
side. They're not saturated it the way they did Marvel, and like Marvel's quality has been hit and miss at best. But I'm sorry, Connor, go ahead.
No, I guess I recently watched that old like announcement of James Gunn being like, "Hey, here's what we got in the oven." And I was
The
like, "Oh my
authority's
god,
never gonna happen."
well, the authority has been like, taken off life support, but then like they also like Waller. That was like the first thing he talks about is like Waller. It's like, oh my god, like
Forgot
is
about
that even
and that
gonna
was supposed to
happen?
be like the gap bridger between the DCEU and the DCU, or that was going to be like the
And,
like,
like-
passing of the torch thing. It sounded like.
And I thought like, oh, is this gonna did Waller become Peacemaker season 2? No.
No.
According to like Google, it says that, hey, there's still plans for Waller, but I was like, is there?
This
Like-
late? Why would you do it now?
I don't know.
One thing that I do so I think there's a different. I'm not calling them liars, but I think there's a difference between what Gunn and Safran are gonna tell you and what they're gonna be doing behind closed doors. I think it's true they're not panicking. I also don't think you'll ever see from them another $200 million movie that's not a tentpole character. I think that's the lesson they'll learn from this, is they'll be a lot more careful about their budgets.
Yeah, and
And they should do that, by the way.
Yeah, and that is part of that's bigger beyond just DC. I mean, that's whatever you want to call it, superhero fatigue,
That's
whatever.
Hollywood.
Like
They got to figure that out.
Exactly, that's just blockbusters in general. Like
That's movies in general.
This movie is like maybe 1 out of 3, not even 1 out of 3 hit big, but like maybe 1 out of 3 are profitable. I don't know. I'm pulling that number. But yeah, like
when you look at what
it's a
happened
problem.
with Backrooms, why in the world would you make anything for more than $100 million now?
I really hope this means we make our $50 million Swamp Thing movie finally.
Yeah,
and it'll be amazing.
Absolutely.
I'm so glad you said the B word.
Look,
there,
you can
Pat,
make
because-
Resurrection Man for $40 million. You absolutely can.
Exactly.
Make me that movie. I'm sorry, Connor. Good.
Oh, it's
No,
the
no,
10
no, no. I was gonna say, like, did you see Backrooms has made more money, both domestically and worldwide, than The Mandalorian and Grogu?
Yep.
Like,
And that's
and
quite
then
an achievement.
Obsession.
From
Obsession.
from a first-time
And Obsession,
director who's like 5 years old. I mean, it's amazing.
Well, and then like that movie Obsession, which I'm gonna be watching probably this upcoming weekend. I still haven't seen it, but domestically, that's made $233 million.
It's crazy.
What?
No, it's
made
I
more
know what
money-
happened.
It made more money. It made more money than The Devil Wears Prada 2. Like that. Like
No, it's a phenomenon like The Sixth Sense was. You know,
Well, I
It's
can
crazy.
explain to you what
it's
happened
about
with
to make
with,
more money than Sinners.
I can explain to you what happened with Mandalorian's budget. They started spending money on that, and then they realized halfway through it wasn't another season of that TV show. Like, oh wait, it's a budget for just one project. Oops, that's what happened.
I mean that costs about as much as this did, and this won't make nearly as much as Mando and Grogu did. unfortunately.
Yeah, and that's considered a bomb.
Yeah, like that made over $300 million. This will not.
You know, I kind of wish I had seen Mandalorian before this now, because it might have the way you and other people have been talking about it. It might have put it in perspective where I would have enjoyed this more. I don't know.
I saw it and
Look,
Is that your review?
I think my opinion of Masters of the Universe stands in contrast of having watched it 25 minutes after getting out of The Mandalorian and Grogu, which is the most bored I have been in a movie theater in years. Like I think you know this about me. Like, to me, the worst thing a movie can be is not boring; it's annoying.
Yeah.
And I will say, Masters of the Universe can be annoying, but it's kind of annoying. I will take kind of annoying over incredibly boring. Like, I wanted to leave The Mandalorian and Grogu. Like, I was like, oh my god, this is finally wrapping up. Oh wait, we're halfway through. Like, there's no way. No, like, you're pulling my leg. There's no way there's an hour left of this thing. Oh, there is, and there was. Like,
Well,
it was.
there's a
painful.
problem when Favreau does his press tour, and like the first time, or the first words out of his mouth every time he's talking about that movie is, yeah, honestly, I didn't really get why they asked me to do this. You know, there was a lot of that where he's like, well, they came to me and they were like, you should make this movie, and I was like, why? I guess we're doing that now. So it's not like there was any story motivation for that film being made. They just pivoted from TV to a movie and hoped it would work out.
Yeah.
Isn't it
Yep,
interesting? Sorry, now we're talking about a movie I haven't even seen. Sorry, I gotta say this real quick, because I've had this thought a lot lately, and I want to say it to you specifically, Connor. Isn't it fascinating how I don't know, we live in a world of contradictions. How something can be simultaneously the safest possible choice and the worst, most unlucrative possible choice. Like, we simultaneously all said when that movie was announced, well, they're being so safe. But we also collectively knew it wouldn't make money. Well, how the hell can both of those things be true?
Well, when they announced it, I thought it would be a big hit.
That was the dumbest.
Yeah.
That was the worst. Like, you'd be better off making a movie about Watto. Sebulba, a Star Wars story.
Hey, look, if you want to do a pod racing movie, like,
I'm all in. I'm all in for a pod racing movie.
I'm shocked we haven't just done Rocky with pod racers. Like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
That'd be so good. It's called Chance Cube, a Star Wars story.
Cap, to attempt to answer your riddle.
Sorry.
One of like the shortcomings of that movie, of doing it as a movie, is just not striking while the iron was hot.
Yes.
If that movie comes out after Mando season 2, probably makes a lot more money and there's a lot more hype for it. The problem is it's following Book of Boba Fett, which everyone hated, and Mandalorian season 3, which is where everyone quit and dropped off. And so
apparently it came out like 3 years after Mandalorian season 3. Has it really been that long? Like,
yeah,
I never watched the third.
I didn't either.
That's
not good.
Nuts.
And Connor, I'm not defending the movie. I'm just saying, as someone who watched season 3, I'm like, well, if this is what season 4 was going to be, I'm glad I got it condensed into a 2-hour version of that, because that probably wouldn't have been a good season.
Look, I like Jon Favreau as a director, so
yeah.
When I say this, I don't mean anything dismissive about the man. It felt like his direction to his actors was, remember, guys, zero charisma. Zero charisma. Go.
And this is the guy that made Chef.
He made Elf.
Like, that's not okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Plushie DX, how would Watto do better? I didn't say it would. I said I would be intrigued over Mandalorian. And it would be a risk.
Yes.
That I wouldn't immediately know right now is not going to. Okay, I would. I mean, that movie's not going to perform. But
yeah.
I would prefer
I-
it. But a pod
I would
racing
watch the
movie
Book of
might
Watto.
that has Watto in it. That might do okay.
Look, look, Watto, a Star Wars story. It's about a guy who owns slaves. Like,
Yeah.
if that's not a risk, I don't know what it
Can
is.
you imagine a Watto origin story? Well, yeah, and like also, and like just like standard Jewish stereotype. So let's piss off everyone and make him the protagonist.
I will
Chance
say,
Cube a Star Wars story.
now I will say I did see some hyperbolic discussion around that Mandalorian movie of, oh, this is the first Star Wars movie in like 6 years, and oh, people don't care anymore. It's like, okay, but we've had like multiple seasons of Star Wars Disney Plus shows every year since the last Star Wars movie. Obviously, the context is different. And I'm not saying this will be good or bad. I'm saying this was an experiment, whether you think it was a good idea or not. The real test is next year with that Starfighter movie, which is an original movie with a new cast of
Oh, is that actually
characters.
coming out for sure?
That's for sure coming
they
out.
shot
that's
it?
coming out
Okay,
next year.
that's good.
Yes, they've shot it. Will
here's
it be good or not?
the-
I don't know. Will it succeed or not? I don't know. But that'll be like the real test on
Well, yeah,
how
because
Star Wars is doing in
there's-
cinema.
if it looks good, there's no reason that shouldn't perform. I mean, it's a good idea for a movie.
Right.
I think the mistake they like if you want to be safe but get people excited, the mistake they made was not after 7 years coming out with not a TV show like they did, but a Darth Maul film. That's just printing money. Like, why wouldn't you do that?
Yeah.
You know, there's
I mean,
an
I'm glad
audience
that.
for that.
I mean, I like the Darth Maul show, so
No, I like the Darth Maul show a lot, and like I haven't even been watching Star
Oh.
Wars in a while, and I was like, hell, I gotta watch it. Yeah, it's good. Hopefully it stays good. I was shocked it was getting more seasons. I figured it was just a mini series, and then it ends on a cliffhanger, and I was like, hot damn, it's a pretty good cliffhanger too. So I'm with you. I'm just saying that now I'm just a little sample set of one. This is anecdotal, but like I don't even care about Star Wars that much, and I watched the Darth Maul show. So like make it a movie, and I think there's an audience for it.
Cap, with how good the animation is in that show, I do
It
wonder,
looks
like,
wonderful.
maybe, however, whenever the Darth Maul show finishes, whether it's 2 seasons, 3 seasons, whatever, maybe try making a theatrical animated movie. I mean, you need to pick. I'm not saying a Darth Maul movie spinning off that show. I'm just saying, depending on the story and the characters and the setting, maybe let's try another theatrical animated movie with good animation this time, because that show looks great. You know, let's see.
If it was the
I'd
right
try that.
subject, I'd go. Yeah, sure.
Because that Clone Wars movie should never have been in a theater.
No, it shouldn't have been made. It's awful.
It's not good.
I don't know. I feel like right now Star Wars is just gonna be having to go through the same hurdle that like Pixar had to go through over the last few years, which is Disney had conditioned people to just expect Pixar movies at home on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
And so they had to suffer through Elemental and Elio, but Hoppers did pretty well. Elemental did have very good leg. Toy Story 5 is killing. So like they are kind of getting out of that hole, and but it's retraining audiences to go and watch Pixar at the theater. After Rise of Skywalker, and then going into the pandemic, and then the success of Mandalorian, they just turned everything into a streaming show, and now it's like not only is it a movie that like that you're trying to get people to get back in, it's a movie based on a show, and so like it already is like a half measure, and so in terms of training the audience is what I mean.
Well,
so like
there's also
even if Starfighter loses money, that should not deter them from trying to do more like theatrical films.
Right.
I agree. Yeah, I think there's a quality issue obviously at play there too, Connor, because they already, with The Mandalorian, won some people back around on Star Wars that were done with Star Wars because the sequels weren't good, and then they kind of ultimately crapped the bed on that. And so when the third season wasn't great, and people and people didn't like the spin-offs with that show too, because their strategy was after season 2 was well this is huge now. It's not the Star Wars universe anymore. It's the Mandalorian universe, and so let's get out our Boba Fett show, but it's just going to be more Mandalorian. And then let's get the Ahsoka show out, and then that all kind of fizzled out, and then they did one more
Mhm.
season of Mandalorian that looked cheaper and didn't take itself seriously enough, and people didn't like. And so then it was a matter of, so now it's a matter of we have to do that again, because like they want everybody back around with Mandalorian, and then they screwed up Mandalorian, and then tried to get you to go see that in the
Well-
theater. And so you're right that they've conditioned people to watch Star Wars at home. They've also conditioned people to not watch Star Wars again.
But then there is the Andor thing though, which
Andor was
was
great.
which was viewership wise
Yeah.
smaller, but it did apparently grow in its second season.
I think so.
But apparently people love that show. I've not watched it myself, but
I love it.
But that
It's
seems
on
like the
Disney
exception
Plus.
that proves the rule. Every time I hear any,
Mhm.
sorry, we'll finish up here. We're not even talking about Supergirl anymore. People in the comments are saying, "I'm leaving now. You guys have gone on too long, and we don't care." But I'll just say this real quick. What the hell were we talking about?
Star Wars Mandalorian
Oh,
spinoffs.
so sorry, no. Andor. So
Andor.
every time there's always a caveat, Connor. Every time that show comes up, I hear, "No, really, it's hardly even Star Wars. It's great. Watch it." Like that's what every time anybody brings that show up, it's the exception. Don't worry, it's not too Star Wars.
but
And
but people who don't want to watch it are associating it with Star Wars.
Yeah.
And so even if that is the pitch, they are like making the decision to I'm going to watch the Star Wars, even though the pitch is maybe it's hardly Star Wars.
But where they
Yeah,
had
and I
a
don't-
chance to really bring the audiences back and keep them with Mandalorian was, however you feel about this, it's finally back to brass tacks and looks like the old Star Wars that you know.
Yeah.
And so it's harder to have that to keep that kind of momentum going when the one popular thing you have people aren't even describing as Star Wars.
Yeah.
Which
Sorry
I
about that, what were you
don't.
gonna say?
That's fine, because I don't personally agree with that sentiment, but Andor is very different and has a very specific voice and is more adult. So like it is an outlier in terms of tone.
I need to finally
Okay.
watch that. I've said that for months
I love
and
it.
years at this point, but I'll do it.
But people like me who love Andor also know that was made by a very specific team and showrunners who aren't working in that universe anymore. So it's like, yeah, it's over. Like,
Sure.
it's not something.
But to
we
Connor's
expect
point,
more of.
that just proves that if you're good enough, people still will
Yeah.
watch it.
Yes. Yeah. I agree with that.
Anyway, anything else you guys have got to say about this before we get going?
It's not the worst thing ever. I didn't hate it. We ranted a lot, but yeah, it exists.
Yeah. I basically only had like negative things to say about it, but I didn't hate it. Like I'd probably give like a 4.5 out of 10. Follow me on Letterboxd, I guess. I don't know.
Oh, I have a hot take you guys probably won't agree with.
Oh,
I liked the little Seth Rogen alien. He made me laugh. He's really out of place in this movie.
yeah, I didn't
and
like that
there's-
at all.
Eh.
And I
There's
was impartial.
Great. You got all our bases covered.
Yeah, I'm sad about it.
No, I'm so disappointed.
I'm
Even though I
disappointed.
didn't hate it.
Well,
Because it's like, so we're never.
Sorry, good.
Well, it's like, so we're never making another Supergirl movie again. Okay, we tried.
Yeah,
Oh.
it just feels like you didn't leave the Jell-O in the refrigerator as long as the box told you to. Like it just doesn't come together.
hmm And it was really a bummer seeing this with my dad, who hasn't read the comic, and like he thought the movie was fine, but he also thought it was a misstep after Superman, which he really liked. And one of the things my dad said was like, "Yeah, I don't know why they made that. Like, I don't know why they did that story with those characters," which is the worst thing you want to hear coming off of like an acclaimed comic book like that, which he
Yeah.
hasn't read, but. Like Connor, like if you just watch the movie, like I can't imagine anyone watching this movie like, wow, I got to read that comic because that movie was great. Like I can't imagine anyone.
And if it
No,
looked
I
and
mean,
felt
to your-
like that book, he wouldn't be saying that.
Exactly.
Yeah, no,
It's really
to
discerning.
that point, as this movie was winding down and getting to the final act, I did have that thought of like, why is this Supergirl movie? Like, so I guess, I kind of had that.
And that's not the feeling you want to have when like the single most popular Supergirl comic written in decades. That's not the feeling you want to have.
I also think that no matter what the quality of the movie was, if it's, I'm being hyperbolic when I say this, if it's exactly the same film all the way up to the last 10 minutes and a friggin' super horse shows up, immediately everyone's ratings go up a little bit. Immediately. You'd be like, well, I've never seen that before.
We'll never know.
Shakarama says the comic wasn't that great, to be honest. Nobody in their right mind would read it and be like, this has to be a movie. I don't know that that's fair. I mean, it's cool if you don't like it. I like I said, I didn't have a great read the last read I had of it, but like I was hearing a lot of that. You know, like with that book, like, oh, this would make a great movie, and they decided to make it. So.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was really successful and popular.
John Von Kelling, Comet would have saved this movie. Ren Davis, yep, because then something would be happening. Well, guys, thanks a lot for watching. We sure appreciate you. Do you guys have anything else?
I have to be up for work in 5 hours, so no, I will go to bed.
I'm really sorry. We want to apologize for the half-an-hour rant about Star Wars, but also you're welcome for the extra content. Anyway, we appreciate you guys. See, walking contradictions. Sorry, what, Connor?
I was like, it was a discussion. We discussed. Okay.
We sure did. There's no denying that. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for hanging out with us. I'm gonna be out of town all next week for a trip to Florida, so we won't have a movie review on Monday. But there's a bunch of stuff coming out all summer, so we'll have something the week after. And it's possible that on the trip, Jayson and I will see some things we've missed and try to do a catch-up show on something. Maybe Disclosure Day, maybe Mandalorian, maybe both. I don't know what's coming out this week. There's something.
Minions.
Is there anything besides that? Because yay, an off week. Because I'm not watching that.
There's Young Washington.
What the hell is that?
It's about George Washington when he's young.
Oh my!
Great.
Is it really called that?
It's a nothing movie. Don't worry about it.
Okay, great. Cap finally did how we felt about Mandalorian, and I haven't even seen it.
There's also the Moana remake coming out in a week or two.
The what? The Watto remake?
No, Moana.
You can't remake Watto. You never made it in the first place.
I would watch the live action Watto remake right now.
I've got the chance to over here. Anyway, thanks everybody for watching. We will see you again soon-ish. No, I'll be back tomorrow night for the regular comic show. We'll have some other things this week. But in the meantime, I was Captain Logan, and this was Connor Nielsen.
Bye, guys.
And Robert Wild. Good night, folks.
Hello.